All right. We'll give it a second here for everyone to trickle on in. We're going to have a fun call here, guys. I'm excited. We're trying a new format. Call me the Dave Ramsey of land. It's funny. I've never even watched a Dave Ramsey episode, but I get the premise, and that's what I'm looking to create here. Essentially, we're going to take you, the viewer, the audience, and I'm going to bring you on with this call with me live. And you're going to get 5 minutes of deep diving on your business, riffing, talking about the good, the bad, the ugly. So kind of like this 5 minute rapid fire coaching style. And that's what we're going to do. Now, before we get started, throw your name in the chat. Let me see who's here. And give this video a thumbs up. It's the very least you could do. Give it a thumbs up so we can get this out to the world. We can get this out to more people. Chat, guys. Who's here? Put it in the chat so I can see. And what we're going to do to get this thing kicked off is I'm going to be sharing a StreamYard link, which I'll be putting inside the chat. And we're going to select folks. You just got to click that. It'll add you to the waiting room here. And then I'll admit people in, okay? So I'm going to put this here in the chat. And we're going to get you guys in the waiting room. Okay, a couple things that I want to go over too. Just give me 1 sec. What's up, BG? Ben, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. All right, put that in the chat. Okay, a couple things. A lot of things, actually. So first and foremost, it's funny. I've been hearing a lot of whispers from people in the land business outside of Leah, whether it be other educators or just other land investors. And there's this funny thing that I've heard just whispered around in the last year is, oh, flipping is dead. Flipping doesn't work. The flipping model is a thing of the past. Now people are pivoting their businesses and trying to do on market X, Y, and Z, or just doing all of these things to pivot their business because there's this faulty belief that somehow the land flipping business doesn't work anymore. And the irony is I get to see the flip side of 300 plus businesses inside of Leah. And there's too many people to count that are having their best year ever. So why is that? Well, the flipping business has changed. It's certainly not dead, but the folks that are still doing the shotgun approach, spray and pray, there's not really much room to build a thriving business doing that anymore. Could you be profitable? Maybe, but not consistent enough or profitable enough to build a big team and actually grow your business. And so I think that we are kind of at an inflection point in the land business where the flipping model is not dying. The flipping model is evolving, and you as a land investor need to evolve. And every week we get people coming to us on the Leah side that have gone through X, Y, and Z cookie cutter course or paid multiple 5 figures for some kind of one-on-one coaching, and yet their business doesn't work. And it's because of this giant circle jerk of people passing off the same exact information. They all say the same things and do the same things, and they just don't work anymore. So here's the thing. 2025 could be frankly your best year in the land business, or it could be the worst year. It could be your worst year. It could be the year that actually ends you, to be honest, and not to fear monger. But there's a skill bar that is continuing to be raised. And so the game is changing. So here's the thing. If you want to take the guesswork out of your market selection, right? No more hours spent trying to figure out what markets to work in. You know where to spend your marketing dollars. You're working in markets that have consistent lead flow that bring you high quality properties, high quality leads, where you're able to put $1 in, bring back $7, $10, $29. I heard a land investor the other day say, if he can make $3 for every $1 he spends on marketing, that's a winning campaign. Brother, that sounds like a losing campaign in my book. Now, I'm not saying every single mailer you do is going to have those numbers, but the grand aggregate of it should be 7, 10x. I mean, if you're Anthony Reese in the 29x area. On top of that, if you want to know how to actually create accurate offers to go out to sellers to bring in leads where you're speaking their language, right? You're like, all right, we're not super far off. We got the lead in our system. We might still have to renegotiate. In fact, most of our deals renegotiate because there's always more meat on the bone to kind of wiggle them down. But where you're taking shots on goal with your pricing, if you want a business that can bring in deals at net $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, or hell, even $100,000 per deal, and if you want to be in a community with like-minded folks that aren't here just to be a side hustle flipper, they're here to actually build a business, and they're here to build something of substance, something that changes their life, their family's life for generations to come, then there's really only one thing for you to do. You need to get inside of Leah. There is just frankly nothing like it out there for folks that are serious operators that are looking to build a business in the land space. And so what I'm going to recommend to you is we're going to do what I call a land investing audit. Okay. We're going to audit your land business. And all you got to do is hop on a call with my team. Okay. I'm going to go through and we're going to actually build that kind of like a scorecard system for where your business is at before you move into 2025. Right. We'll kind of look at every nook and cranny and say, hey, these are our recommendations of what I think you need to improve in your business. And if you want to accelerate it and put the pedal to the metal and take it to the next level, well, cool. Hop inside of Leah. Let's work together. Let's get it done together. Or you can take the feedback that we give and go kick ass and take names. Okay. Landinvestor.co/apply. We're going to do an audit call on your business. So hop in there. Ben, I see you in the chat. Welcome. All right, I want to bring Ben on. And again, the link is in the chat here. So join the StreamYard, come into the weight room, and let's hang out. Ben, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Sumner? Been a minute.
I know, man. I haven't seen you on the calls in a while. You're too busy, huh?
I am, dude. It's been awesome hitting this kind of the parabola in the business. It's very real. Many thanks to Leah and you and the team and the coaches and the platform and Land Insights. Honestly, don't think I probably could have done it this year without Land Insights. So shout out to you guys for building an amazing product. Even like I even told you, like from V1 when it was just like the Tableau sheets was like that. Being a solopreneur starting out in this thing saved me from countless hours of market selection, staying up wee hours late at night. Or having to hire a VA to do something like that.
So. Yeah, I was gonna say on that note, I think in land and maybe just in like the business world in general, I think that like especially with AI, I think we're gonna start seeing 7-figure one-person businesses or 7-figure one person and one VA businesses. And I feel like the whole thing in the business world has always been like this big flex on like how many team members you have. Yeah, and I think it's gonna reverse. And I think in land something like one VA and Land Insights and the right kind of marketing, the right kind of properties, someone could build a 7-figure one-person business, which is kind of bonkers. But yeah, man, I think there's something changing for sure. And like we've started to downsize our team deliberately. I mean, we just hired 5 people last month, but on the macro over the last few years, our team size has gone down in our land business.
Yeah,
I think that's where the puck is going. A 10-second elevator pitch for folks that are looking to build their business in 2025. What would you say to
them? Come in with it, eyes wide open. I would say, if you want to really attack this thing, 10 seconds or to be really successful, invest in the resources, because like you said, you don't need the big team. I think if you have the right tools at your fingertips, you can absolutely 100,000% crush this. There's no reason. Like I honestly think the tools were what gave me the confidence to be able to do this. I'm at my W-2 office right now.
I know you're gonna get in trouble with this, Ben.
If I haven't gotten in trouble by now, I don't think I'm gonna get in trouble.
Do they know what you do, Ben?
No.
Wow.
No clue. No clue.
And you still want to juggle both balls, or you enjoy it?
Until they tell me not to. I mean, I tell these people all the time, like I work maybe 5% of my week on my W-2. I'm in a very good situation where utilizing my tools and stuff on that end, where it makes it look like I'm putting in, it makes it look like I'm putting in 70-80% effort. So people, I've had conversations where it's just like, we're not getting your A+ effort out of you, but you're still doing a great job. Yeah. Like, how do we push you forward? And it's like, I just want to show up, get my paycheck and support my family. But like in reality, it's like, no, I want to grow this land business so that I can, create an amazing life for my family. Right. So this is, I probably am, live, breathe, sleep the land business now.
You're obsessed. Yeah. You're obsessed. Speaking of obsession, I'm going to start the 5-minute clock here, and then you can Google me. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. What you got?
So we just opened up our texting platform. Okay. So I think that's been a big a big step forward in our business. We've been doing blind offers up until this point, and we've dabbled in the hiring a cold calling agency too over the past 6 months. I'd say that it's an expensive marketing to hiring another agency to do your marketing for you, especially cold calling. But it's going to yield a decent ROAS. It's only going to bring 2 deals in, which is the unfortunate part. But I wanted it because I've brought an acquisition manager. I've seen my direct mail responses kind of go down. So I'm going to be also taking the next few weeks to retweak my marketing, the letters, like going from soup to nuts, and be like, okay, let's really A/B test this stuff. Like, let's just try and get these lead response rates up as much as we can. But in the meantime, I think you met my intern. He's probably my operations manager now, Nick Staley. I brought him on to help. We've actually partnered together to run this texting platform. So we're in the middle of it. Like we're trying to figure that out. So I'd love to hear from you, like how, trying to figure out the best workflow, because right now I went wide immediately. It's like, we're doing 50,000 a month. We're going to get a few deals, and it's going to pay this way. It'll pay for itself like immediately. We've already got, not only we've got 5 deals from our first month under contract. We've already got a contract to sell on one of our double closes that'll bring in 6 figures. So we're like, we're rock and rolling, but it's very much drinking from a fire hose. So love your quick pitch on like best way to handle workflow in the texting platform, like from lead, qualifying the leads quickly on the text, getting your lead manager to qualify them quickly. So that way your acquisition manager's time is best spent on closing those deals, locking them up, and moving them down the pipeline.
Okay. I'll tell you how we do it. I don't know if that would be the best fit for you. I've actually kind of wanted to create the fire hose situation. And what I've found is that, we have to sift through some crap for sure, but there's gold buried in the crap that we just wouldn't need a qualification through text. So I'll tell you what we do now. You can take some of it. What I would say is, if you are spending the money on text, just get another butt in the seat on the acquisition side to handle the full explosion of leads, whether it's an intern or a VA. So just out of curiosity, how many leads are you guys getting a month with 50,000 in the CRM?
So right now we just started like really super tracking it. So we have on a week-to-week basis, we're probably like 60 per week. So call it 200 to 250 per month. And that's leads getting pushed from they've raised their hand on texting and saying, we'll have a conversation. I'll talk to your acquisition manager or whatever. And then from there, it's probably like I want to say it's like a 33% clip of that is like our qualified leads, right? Okay. So the qualified leads where it's like, okay, it makes sense. There's potential to do business here. Your property checks out. You're probably willing to accept a below market offer in some shape or form.
That's true. Those are really good numbers in terms of how many leads are coming in your CRM. For context, we're doing like just a little over 100,000 texts a month, and we're getting 350, maybe 400 leads this year. Okay, so that's good numbers. All right, so I'm going to go quick. I got a minute here on the clock, so I'm going to go quick. Yeah. Put all of our data first inside of our CRM. We didn't used to do it. It all goes in there, and once they respond, we update the stage inside there. Team is sending out just kind of like very open-ended text. Hey, Bob, your property on so-and-so land, do you want to sell? They come back to us. We typically don't even just immediately dive into price. We'll kind of just like very canned due diligence questions. And then from there, my team will move into a pretty wide range. So we offer 40 to 80% of what the market value is for the property, what we assume market value is. Now, if they have a property that's got some kind of development potential, I tell my team, on that 80% range, if they come back with something 50% higher than that, I still want to add them into the CRM. So we kind of have some tolerances. And what I find is like for these bigger deals, no one ever is like, I'll take your 80 cents on the dollar offer. So let's go straight into the CRM. Now that texting process, there's really not that much rocket science to it. I don't want to have an offer in the first text. I don't want to immediately get the offer. I want to make them jump through some due diligence questions, not because we care about them, but it's a pretty good sign of like they're raising their hand to that, responding. Okay, I like that. And one of the things that I've found, let's turn this clock up. One of the little things I've found in terms of a way to understand qualifications for leads that I never really looked very much at was the speed in their response, both once they're in the CRM and inside of text. It's a pretty good signal. Someone's engaging with us quickly and they're open to answering all of our questions. They come into our CRM, call them day one, they pick up the phone. It's a strong form of qualification. Now, what we've had to do, though, to open up the floodgates and to allow this to work is we have had to change our follow-up process for new leads.
Yeah.
So inside of we talked about a 14-day seller follow-up cadence, which I still think is optimal when you're running a mail system and you're only getting 30 leads a month. Like, work the shit out of those leads, right?
Yeah.
But now, and we're still tinkering with what the exact time frame is, but we're kind of like trying to cut that down in half, and then moving them to these really aggressive RVM and text campaigns. So we have them kind of in the back burner. It feels a little better than the like classic drip email text. And so my team's just kind of flying through that early stage. We had to bring in a due diligence person to underwrite these deals. That's kind of working in conjunction. So the texting team, I'll tell you, the texting team does like a really high level breakdown on value. It takes like 2 minutes in the confidence tool. They throw that out to the seller, and that lead comes in our CRM. Due diligence person's diving deep, unpacking it, and then AM team stepping in. So that's the thing. Like for me to have 2 acquisition managers that can handle all of this lead flow, what I've had to do is I've had to shorten the amount of time we're going to allot to the non-responding new leads, and I've had to pull the due diligence off their plate entirely. So they're just on the phone. Unfortunately, the due diligence person we hired, we just had to fire this week. So I'm in the process of hiring a new one. Questions on that?
So you said so RVMs. I know you don't like RVMs at scale for marketing, but because they've already opted into texting, you have more comfort with dropping an RVM then because they've already opted into some form of communication.
That's my thinking.
That's your thinking.
Yeah. Okay. It's all risk and reward. I mean, there's still risk there, but yeah, my thinking is if they didn't freak out over a cold text or direct mail or whatever, they're probably not going to do it here.
Yeah.
And I look, I'm still chill with them. I'm not blasting one every day. It's like
it's like
2 in the first week, and then it kind of staggers out.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting. So we're not doing any offers on text. Our cadence is to get them on the phone as quick as possible. Right. So it's like if they're open to conversation, it's like our question is like, are you open to hearing a proposal or something like that? And our manager is immediately just going like, great. Let's set up a time for you to talk to my acquisition manager, or my acquisition manager will be calling you here shortly. So like that part feels clunky because it's like speed the lead, right? Like if they said yes, and it's like we want to call them like as soon as they're immediately. So it does feel like sometimes we drop some conversations because of that.
So let me ask this: Does your acquisition manager and texting person, is there a way they can give preferential treatment to leads? So like not every new lead should be created equal. And there's a way for them to communicate and say, hey, Nick, or whoever's doing it, this lead's smoking hot. You need to call them right now. Joe that just opted in 5 minutes ago, you can wait to call him. Do you guys do anything like that?
Probably not as direct as we should, but everything just gets pushed to CRM. But I can make sure that that's added to our SOP to text to be like bring it up in Slack, like sound the bells and whistles. But
exactly. Yeah. I find that a lot of times, just in general in land businesses, everyone's in their own silo, but the texting and AM should be like hinged at the hip. And that texting person too should also, they can volley with each other. Nick, it's like, hey, I haven't gotten in touch with this person in 2 weeks. Texting person goes and texts them through launch control. Like we can just triangulate. They should be working together.
Right.
I would say too for this. I mean, I don't know. I would be curious to throw wide ranges in there just to make your job a little bit easier, or your person's job a little bit easier. I don't like super narrow ranges via text, but what I recommended you could replicate, and that's going to shave down probably 20% of those leads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't have enough data on neutral texting to know, but what I know neutral mail, I mean, so many of those folks are just tire kickers.
Yeah.
So something to play with.
Totally.
Those are some insane stats. One thing I would ask, you said your mail responses dip down, and then we'll bring Maria on. And one thing too, everyone in the chat, guys, I put the link for StreamYard. Click on that, get in the waiting room, and we'll let you in. Maria, I'm gonna tap your shoulder in a second. You said that the mail response has gone down. Is that like macro for the year? The quarter?
Yeah. I would say macro compared to last year when we first started. Say probably like my response rates have gotten cut in half. No, I think so, I do think part of that is just like we have not classified people who have called in to Pat Live to say go fuck yourself, whereas last year we did as like that's a lead in the door.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, so that there's probably, I would say maybe like that's definitely a lot of it, but there's a lot of campaigns, like 2,000 to 3,000 campaigns that I've per counties that I got zero on, like multiple of those. And so I would say like last year I was getting between like a 0.35 to 0.5 response rate. This year it's closer to like 0.15 to 0.25.
Which honestly, in my experience prior to Land Insights, was more the norm, at least for me. Getting ridiculous 1% or 0.5% response rates. But it's hard for me to try to theorize what would be causing that. But yeah, response rate's not everything. I mean, we can still have super profitable campaigns. Have you changed anything in your mail process, or is it pretty much
that's where I'm going to be diving into to be like, okay, let's look at the letter. The letter is the same generic letter I've used for the last 18 months. I think it needs to be a little refreshed, needs to add a little more branding, or just a different message, right? I think a lot of people are pitching the same message. But I would say, pricing wise, I need the offer that we're actually sending out, I may need to have a little bit more oversight as like, how are we pricing the markets? Because I've offloaded that. So that was definitely a big change this year.
Ben, did you offload that this year?
Yeah.
Wow, could have something to look at there too. It seems like it would correlate. That's interesting. I haven't heard of people's response rates getting chopped in half for the year, but I've heard people have a lumpier year in terms of response rate. But again, I don't get that hung up on that stuff. But yeah, I would say what's interesting is like this was probably one of the harder years I've seen for Land in my career, just because there was so much turbulence and uncertainty that seemed like everyone's kind of sitting on their hands. And so if you've had a good year despite that, if we go back into another 2020, 2021 cycle, it's going to be ridiculous. Which with Trump in office, it's possible. Could go bananas.
So I mean, I'll say this the last thing before we hop. The last month since the election, this was like literally a month ago, right? It's been the best dispositions month I've had all year long. So I think people are finally off the sideline, and hopefully that's good, means good things to come for.
I think you stole all the deals, man. I've had a soft disposition month, only 3 sales last month.
Really?
I've heard from most people that it's been booming. I don't know why I haven't been getting the love, but yeah, man. Well, we went way over time, as we do.
Yeah.
Any questions while you're here?
No, I'll let you move on to the next person. I don't want to hog any more time.
Good seeing you, Ben. Have a great weekend, man.
Too. Take care.
All right, Maria, you're next. Hey guys, again, get into the waiting room. Click on that StreamYard link. Do not be shy. Come on in. I won't grill you too hard. Get some value. Don't just watch from the sidelines. Hop in that waiting room so we can riff. I don't care if you're a brand spanking new, you've never done a deal, or you've done 1,000 deals. Let's just talk. Let me see if I can help. All right, Maria, we're bringing you on.
Hey.
Friday. All right. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. Can you also add, you'll probably see him down here, Christian Reinertson, my son. He's my partner.
I don't see him. I just see Oscar and Brian.
Okay. That's okay. It's
okay.
Cool.
Well, if he hops in, I'll keep an eye out. Let him in.
Okay. Cool.
Also, one big favor, guys. It's so funny. I used to never ask about this. And then I started asking for it, and we get way more likes when I ask for a like. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It's crazy what that actually does. It creates this wild domino effect for it getting pushed out more. I used to be too meek to ask for that. So please do. And we already got our first downvote on the video. Who knows why? I don't know what I've already done wrong. All right, Maria, I'm going to set the timer here, and let's jump into it.
Okay, cool.
What do you got for me? Any questions?
Yeah. So we actually, one celebration, we haven't closed it yet, but we sold our first deal today.
No
Yeah.
way.
So
Congrats. Your first deal inside of Leah. That's a big deal.
our
No
first,
matter how much money you make on it, it's a big deal because it's kind of
right.
like the snowball that gets going. Do you want to talk specifics roughly on the deal? Do you have any idea of what it looks like?
Yeah, sure. It's actually funny because we literally I started mailing, let's see, when was the Las Vegas?
That was
What
October, end of October.
Okay, October. So I started mailing out the beginning of October. And my first mailing, I got, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I sent out 2,500. Hold on, no, wrong. I sent out 900
Wow.
and we got 5 contracts.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
That's not typical.
No, it's not at all.
Yeah.
5 contracts, and I actually put them through you guys.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will say, and this deal that we closed was not part of that first mailing. So this deal we actually just literally put on the market 3 weeks ago. So it was
Wow.
very quick. It was in Oconee County, South Carolina.
Okay.
And it was a small piece of 1.15 acres. We put it on the market for 31,000. The guy, I mean, the day after, the buyer gave us an offer for 20.
Okay.
When we went back up and said no, we'll do 26.5. We had to find out water because there's no water. And that was kind of a learning process. We talked to the water people to add because it was in a subdivision, but the water stopped right before our property. So we found out it was going to be anywhere from 7 to 9 grand to get it to have water put on. And so the guy today was trying to get us to take 9 grand off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, my son and I, kind of talked back and forth, and we're like, we've already dropped it 5. No,
Yeah.
it's only going to be a 4 grand assignment fee, which he and I are splitting.
Yeah.
So we went back and renegotiated, and so we have it under contract for 21,000.
Okay.
So we split the difference basically. Is what we
Yeah. The old meet in the middle tactic.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? The first deal doesn't make you rich, but it sure as hell gets you on the path. That's an exciting thing.
Exactly. That's how we felt about it too. Because
I always tell people, you want to get that first deal done as fast as possible. Just get over that hump.
I know.
Things start compounding, and it gets exciting.
I know. So we'll both make $4,500, which nothing to see.
Yeah.
It's still. No. So my question, I'll be honest with you, Sumner, is we have 8 other deals listed. I actually just listed another one today, which looks like a really good one with a $61,000 assignment fee.
Wait, hold on, Maria. How many deals do you have listed? 9, 8?
We have 9.
Holy crap! And when did you join Leah? Was that like 4 months ago? 5 months ago?
It was 4. 4 months.
Dude, you're going quick. And for context, Maria is a realtor, so you've got your toe in the pond already. This isn't brand new to you. But that's quick. I mean, that's lightning quick. Good job.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I didn't question anything you said because I've done wholesaling. And, I didn't question anything you said. I just took everything. I didn't even finish everything. I just started doing the things that you said to do and then just started. and started instituting it.
Yeah.
And even if I wasn't a realtor, I just feel like I just didn't question anything. I just did what you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
will tell you, I feel like the marketing that we did, the letter, I had this letter that I put the picture of my boyfriend and I in color right in the middle with us both smiling. And I actually did have it's a verse, a Proverbs 31 verse about a woman buying a vineyard and buying land.
Mm.
Yeah. In other words, a successful woman buying land. And so I don't know, I just tweaked it a little bit,
Yeah.
and I think that did help.
Yep.
Just to give it a little personal taste to
Yeah.
it. At least I felt like it did.
I
But
think one thing I want to just comment on, just for everyone here, too, marketing is a game. It's like fashion, right? Like
Yeah.
it moves in cycles, and so what you'll see happen is everyone starts doing the same thing. And that's either how they market, the marketing channels they use, the language they use. So, for example, the thing that everyone else teaches that's been done forever is, "Hey, I'm a small family-owned land business. I want to buy your land," and everyone and their mom says that. So it's like when we can do a 180 and zag, that gives us a different positioning almost. And the same thing with marketing channels, right? Like everyone's using cold call and mail and texting right now. So I'm like, well, let me start emailing people. But that always moves in cycles. There'll be a time, Marie, where people are using different proverbs and pictures of their boyfriend or husband and wife, and you'll have to go do a different thing. But it always moves in these cycles, which I find interesting. The last thing I'll say on that too, test. Everyone here, it's pretty damn cheap or almost free, depending on what you're doing, to test your marketing. You'll see what happens. It's too hard to sit on the sidelines and be like, unequivocally, this is the right thing I should do. It's like, no. Get a reasonable sample size, 1,000, 2,000 pieces of marketing, and just go and test it and see what happens. And I'm shocked how often I'm wrong. Like a lot of these things, I'll design these beautiful mailers or even postcards in some cases, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the winner.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's actually the complete opposite. So you never know what the market's going to respond to. But I would reckon that worked in your favor, especially with the kind of seller we deal with. We're talking about baby boomers. So they see a happy couple, they love that. Old-fashioned values. They see proverbs on there, they love that. So you're really kind of speaking their language without even trying, which I think is, anyways, I go so over time, so I want to make sure I get to your questions, Marie. We'll start the clock. We'll start the clock now.
Okay. So my question is, with all these listings that we have, and a lot of them are closing in on the date, as far as like end of December.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what do we do, Sumner?
Mm-hmm. So you're saying these are double closes and you're running out of time?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Have you talked to the sellers?
One of them I spoke to, and they said, well, we were hoping, because I said we need another, I think I said 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were hoping that we could close on December 17th. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen, because the way, and what I told them was the topography of your land is very sloping, and we're having some issues as far as getting, areas to at least put this one's the larger one, 24 acres. And it was a rookie mistake, but I did not look at the 3D.
Oh, Maria,
I know.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
I know. And, now that I have land insights now.
Yeah.
I mean, I have for the past 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So now it's a lot easier. But for this one, it was a mistake that we'll have to live with.
Yeah,
So we're trying to figure out what's the next step. What do we do?
Okay. Well, let me dive into it. I want everyone on this call to listen closely because this is very, very important. So take notes, like write this stuff down. 1, The communication with double closes starts the second the contract is signed. So you need to have a process that you adhere to where you're checking in typically on a bi-weekly cadence, right? What you don't want to do is have this situation where it's like out of the blue, you got to circle back with them. You haven't spoken to them. Oh, I got to change the price. Like, what the heck, Maria? The other thing that you'll learn is start doing enough double closes. Some of them will fall apart at the closing table, and that's scary and that sucks. And that can put you in a real pickle. So when we communicate throughout the process, find that just happens less frequently. Now, when you're like, what do I communicate about? Well, it's just simple. Like, hey, no news is good news. Just checking in. Want to let you know we're still working along, or we just got an offer, or we're about to send a title, or we're still doing our due diligence. And so when I go back to the sellers, if I have to renegotiate, the first thing is I come in with a heavy heart. I set the frame. I let them know that this is disappointing for myself. I made a big mistake. I hate doing this. But I tell them, I say, I don't know if you remember our first conversation, but the reason that we had to contract this with additional time is because they were major due diligence question marks on this deal. That's why we didn't cash close immediately. And it was because A, B, and C about the property that gave us concern. And it turns out, as we've got deeper into this, point B or C or whatever, topo, wetland, whatever it is, to become more of an issue. And so there's kind of three forks in the road that we could take here. Okay. The first fork in the road is that we can honor that timeline that we initially listed. We can get this thing closed out for you, but we can't do it at the price listed because frankly, we're going to put ourselves in a losing proposition based off the points I just mentioned. The second point is we can work with more time. Right? Now, I actually don't like this option because if it didn't sell now, maybe it sells in more time, but what if it doesn't? And then you just drag them through the mud for a long time. That sucks. Mm-hmm. So to be honest, we can do that. But I think based off what you told me is you want to get this thing done. We can get it done for you, but it has to be at a price that makes sense based off the property. And then the third point is we part ways. You keep the earnest money deposit, you move on, you keep the property or go list it or what have you. But what I know is neither one of us want that to happen, right? You want to sell the thing. I want to buy it from you. It just has to be at a price that makes sense because seller, you need to remember, I'm an investor. We're in the business of buying and selling lands. Now, sometimes we buy and hold land, sometimes we buy and improve it, sometimes we buy and sell it. But regardless, we're providing liquidity to an illiquid market, and in return, we buy at prices that make sense for us. We don't buy losing properties, right? We'd be out of business tomorrow if that was the case. Now, most sellers are reasonable, especially if we've built a relationship with them since the beginning, which for double closes, you have to do. There has to be a relationship built. And I'm very clear in that process, right? Two things. One, look, shit could hit the fan and this could blow up in our face. And that's why I'm letting you keep the earnest money deposit. That's why we're contracting with additional time. The second thing that I think is worth clarifying with sellers is look at if we, and Mike V, this is his line from Leah. He says, look at if I sell this thing and I make more than the $50,000 listed in the contract, are you going to be okay with that? And so we want full radical honesty, all cards on the table so they don't get blindsided. Or also so they're not 30 days in saying, Maria, why hasn't this closed, right? What I find is on the renegotiations, we have a pretty good strike rate. I don't know the exact percentage. I'd say about half where you either able to extend the timeline or reduce the price and buy it cash close now. So you have a pretty high strike rate if it's done well. But my question to you, rather the question to yourself, whether no matter what happens with those deals, there's a massive learning lesson for each one.
Yeah.
What happened? Did you not contract them with enough time? Was it the wrong price? Were they poorly listed? Did you miss something on the due diligence? And so use these as a learning lesson no matter what happens.
Yeah. To answer that question real quick, 4 of these properties, and I presented them, I think, was it to Rylan? I can't remember, or you, I can't remember. But I think now that I have Land Insights, I went back in and saw the sell-through rate for this zip code, and I never would have put these. I just wouldn't have. Yeah. And it's so easy to see now, but I mean, yeah, it's a learning lesson because they're first of all, it's in an HOA.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's near a lake, but it's in an HOA, but the turnover sell-through rate is just too low.
Yeah. So. Yeah. No, it's a good point. I guess that's one thing I missed too. It could have just been, frankly, just the wrong market. But even if you don't have Land Insights, everyone here should be keenly aware of are things selling in this market before I buy a deal. Now, you can buy deals in bad markets, but we have to compensate with a better price on market. Of course, we have to buy it at a better price.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I look out for, anyone that's using the Land Insights data platform, which frankly you're out of your mind if you're not. When I just pulled up this property here, right? There's just a few triggers I always want to look out for. One, you can see it's labeled that it is in an HOA. Okay? It's important for me to establish because that can seriously affect values. That can seriously affect turn times. And so I might need to compensate my price to adjust for that. There's less people out there that want to buy stuff with HOA dues and restrictions and all that jazz. Okay. The next thing I look at, I mean, there's many things I look at, but just in this context, the next thing that I look at, you can come here to the metrics section. I can actually see the metrics in the area based off of liquidity. So I can see this area of 79 active between the 1 and 2 acre range. This is a 1.6 acre property, 5 pending, but that STR in the 1 year is 32%. Not great, you know? So those are things that I want to take in consideration where I might have to compensate with a better price, or maybe I just don't buy the deal. So yeah, the other thing too, I would look at, I think you and I have looked at this together, Maria, before. I could be wrong, might have been someone else inside of Leah, but I find the vast majority of Leah members, things suck. And it's really hard to move inventory that's poorly listed. Now I know you're a realtor, but I think you mainly do houses opposed to land. Is that right?
I did, yes. Correct.
So the game of listing land opposed to houses is very different. So if you're using Land Insights, ensure that you're using the photo editor, or anyone else out there, use a photo editor here or use Photoshop or what have you. But how those photos are edited, how they're laid out, and then where that listing is syndicated is so important. So there's a lot of factors to look at, but I'll just go through those points that I made here to create like a scorecard for each property. Okay, the market was like a 4 out of 10. The listing was a 10 out of 10. My price was off because of this due diligence reason. You know what I mean? I think, you're probably going to lose some of those deals, unfortunately. You probably won't lose all of them.
Right.
And it's the price of admission, right? The price of admission in this business is getting some gut punches left and right. But luckily, they're double closes. So like the actual gut punch is more just the high hopes being lost of making a lot of money on that deal.
Yeah.
Questions on that, Maria?
No, not on that at all. I have one more question. So my son and I both are really tight on money, as far as marketing right now, and we were considering, and I just wanted to get your take on it, bringing in a third person just to help with marketing costs, or should we just wait until we close some of these? Or do say that again?
The third person would be a partner in the business funding the marketing?
Yeah, they would be a partner. Or should we just do fewer, not do 2,500 to 5,000 a month?
Yeah. Okay. I'm not a fan of bringing in partners in the land business. Typically, in general, obviously you have your son involved.
Yeah.
The family dynamic is awesome, but I would not look to bring anyone else in on top of that.
Okay.
So my thesis has always been I grow through cash flow. Okay. So if my business isn't cash flowing, I'm not growing. And that's okay. Like that's just how I want to grow. I don't want to bring in outside capital. Maybe it's a smart thing to do. I don't like it. So what I would say is let these deals turn over, right? Get some money in the business. Yeah, that might slow you down for growth in the next year, but 10 years from now, you're going to end up at pretty much the same place. Like, don't worry. If you're playing the long game, the micro doesn't matter that much. And so I always try to think in decades. But I want to stay safe. I want to grow through cash flow. And so, yeah, that would be my angle. Let some of those deals come to fruition. Now, in the meantime, I'm not just going to go silent in the business. It's going to shore up some time. So I'd make sure any person that's ever reached out to you, we're just grinding them in our CRM. Like there's probably, how many leads do you have in your CRM right now, Brian?
6,000, around 6,500.
But
No, leads. You're
people that have responded to your marketing.
Yeah. No, very
probably 50.
50. Yeah, 50. Yeah.
So I would say there's probably 2 to 3 deals that you could convert out of that 50. Will it happen tomorrow? No, but I'd say the next 6 months, there's at least 2 to 3 deals. Some will happen soon, and some might take longer to put together. Could even be more than 2 or 3 deals, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I've actually been stirring on this idea, which I thought was kind of interesting. I don't even know if I want to mention it because I'm not ready to fully commit to it. But I thought it'd be interesting to provide like a service for our members where my team will come in and all of like people's dead leads in their CRM, my team will step in and work those for you. And if we can bring them back to life, we'll partner on them. Because I see there's a lot of new land investors that have leads in their CRM that either don't have the time or they just don't have the skill yet to go and convert what is essentially gold sitting in their CRM, just waiting for it to happen, but they just need the activity and the skill. That was kind of like an interesting idea. But I would work those. I don't know what the budget looks like. I probably wouldn't totally turn off marketing, but I would just get so good at sniping properties. I mean, so good. And I actually think that having a lean budget in this business can work to your benefit because you become so efficient. I'll use this example until I'm blue in the face because there's just no example quite like it. And Anthony Reese is like the definition of being efficient. But he's sending 2,500 letters a month. We'll do about $500,000 this year. So you don't need a lot of marketing. Now he probably spends 10 hours per 1,000 records. Like the guy is maniacal about it. But we can all do that. Just take some elbow grease. So yeah, I don't know what the budget looks like. You probably float around 1,000 to 2,500 letters a month, but just be like freakishly obsessed with whittling it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. You know, we talked about it today, and then we closed this deal, and I'm thinking to myself, God, we would have to split this 3 ways. You know, no.
Yeah.
So, okay, awesome.
Really good. All right, Maria. Well, good seeing you. Thanks for hopping on, and hope you have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you, Maria. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, guys, we've got a bunch of people in the waiting room. I'm actually gonna, no one get mad. I'm gonna let Ari on for a second. I saw he just jumped in, so we're just gonna riff for 5 minutes. I'm gonna bring Ari on, then we're gonna go Brian, Oscar, and then David. I just saw you join, so David will pull you on here in a second as well. Okay, Ari, what is up?
Dude, I feel so privileged. You just let me on in.
That's what happens when you're on the Land Insights team. Hey, I'm actually gonna have you steal the show for 1 sec. I've got someone that's trying to drop off a smoothie. So
yeah, for sure. Real quick. I wasn't expecting this.
And Ari, I put you on the spot. Ari, why don't you tell the team, as in everyone watching, what's happening December 16th? It's kind of a big announcement. Should we pull the cat out of the bag?
Sure, dude. Yeah, no, okay. I have no issue doing it. I'll lead with some new features coming out to Land Insights as well. So, dude, I mean, everybody watching, you're in for a treat. Everybody who sees this in the future, you're in for a treat. Maybe you see this before all these things come out. But we have so many features coming out in Land Insights that it's hard to say land investing could ever be the same. There are plenty of data platforms out there, but the issue is that there's no like all-in-one tool. So I've kind of gone through a rocky land business at times where I was solo. I went through huge spurts of like doing deal after deal after deal, and then I would stop. And obviously, the one thing you could do that would hurt your land business more than anything else is just stop your mail, stop your marketing. And I fell into that trap a couple different times. My son was born, a couple other things happened, but I always kind of turned back that mail turn that mail back on at one point or another, and was forced to kind of catch up or do what Sumner was talking about earlier, which is like go through all my leads. And all of that was super hard to manage when I had like 10 different softwares that I was using for due diligence or reaching out or looking at things in terms of my CRM, what I was linking out to in my CRM. So the cool thing about Land Insights is that we've actually consolidated so much of the process of running a land business already that you can, I'm going to go out on a whim and say you could probably have 3/4 of your land business kind of in Land Insights. And I mean, we're going for the kill shot here. Like this is market research, shortening down how long it takes to find a good market. I feel so bad for Maria in that market where it's 1 year with 32% sell-through rate. That hurts my bones because I could probably find 100 markets in Land Insights that have a better sell-through rate than that in a couple minutes, right? And from market research to managing the campaign itself, organizing that, making notes about that campaign, what you're actually targeting, what you want your acquisitions manager to know, or maybe your TC, your title coordinator, to be able to see in terms of your connections in that market. Like keeping all of that organized in one central location between your CRM and maybe Land Insights is huge. All those connections, having those in there, and from market research to tracking your campaigns to managing your MLS like marketing, and then going and having the ability to do due diligence on every single lead that comes in is wild. It's just like I feel like I'm way too spoiled. I could have been doing this from day one on Land Insights and probably been doing 10 times better. But I'm kind of thankful to have gone through all the process. The crazy thing about all the due diligence in here is that you're moving your teammates or your VA or yourself into this platform exactly where you pull the data. So you have confidence around the data in here as well. You just pulled the data out from the platform, and you're going back in it to validate the comps, the characteristics on the property, potentially the owner if it's in here. And then we've got a ton of other opportunities to win on that data set that you marketed to, which are going to be coming out within the next month and a half here. So all these scrubbing options that kind of are out here floating between data providers, that we're absolutely going to blow everything away. And then to the cherry on top is that I'm going to be dialing in the user experience which is what Sumner was alluding to, is come December 16th, I'm actually joining the Land Insights team in a more full-time role where I'm going to be dialing this in like 10x what I've been doing. And if you're a current user, you know I've been handling this customer service aspect of the platform. I've also been kind of working with you as a user for support calls or giving you strategies, building the course, right? All of this extra support. I can't even imagine what 10x of that feels like, but I'm here to give it to you guys. I love you guys. We have been on this journey together, building up the platform from day one. Would not be where we're at today without all the feedback that we've gotten. So I'm super pumped. I mean, 2024, I have this story, Sumner, if you will. I have this story. It's actually hilarious. And it's almost divine, right? I made my password at the beginning of for my W-2 at the beginning of 2024. 2024 is the year. That's all I made my password. I thought it was super ambiguous, but I was like, yeah, kind of aloof. That sounds mysterious. It sounds cool. It sounds like everything in my life is going to change in 2024. And you started the land business in 2023. I thought this is the year everything's going to blow up. And I had to change it again in like April, right? The password, like length of time said, hey, you got to change it again. So I was like, no, I'm not ready. I changed it to I changed it to 2024 is still the year, right? I didn't want to give up. And then November rolls around and it happens again. And I'm like, damn, maybe 2025 is the year that everything in the life changes. So I go to change it to 2025's year, and my freaking computer crashes. It crashes, and when I boot it back up, it says, no, your password's good. You don't need to change it again. And then I swear to you, this is like less than a month later, Sumner proposes to me. Not proposes to me, you know what I mean. He proposes the idea of joining Land Insights full time. And I was just like, well, damn, maybe 2024 still is the year. So here we are joining in literally the final hour of 2024. And super excited to dial in this experience, give everybody the experience that they deserve as a land investor. We're going to kill it, honestly.
Yeah.
Land Insight's about to take off.
Yeah, man, that's a cool story. There's so many weird little synchronicities that happen once you start getting aligned in your life. Like when you're actually, I don't know, playing out your destiny or whatever it may be, you just see all these little things pop up and you start to become more aware of them. And it's just like overwhelming. And it's like, all right, there can't be coincidences. This stuff just gets too weird. And what's funny too, a lot of people here probably don't know this, Ari and I actually grew up in the same hometown. Now, we didn't know each other, but we grew up in the same hometown. He joined Leah probably almost 2 years ago. That's weird to think about. A year and a half, 2 years ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah. And then so that was how the relationship started, and then joined Land Insights, but was still juggling his own land business. You got to be quiet in case they're watching.
Won't matter.
What's up?
I said it really won't matter here, to be honest.
Yeah. So and he's absolutely just done an amazing job. I think everyone here's probably felt the impact of Ari's service, right? And that's really what we do. Like, and anything that we start, service is kind of the first order of business. But what's funny though, what really like cemented my decision was actually at the mastermind. And I don't know if anyone was here, but Ari was like a small freaking bunny rabbit on cocaine running around him. This guy was just everywhere. And he was like, there were 6 Aries somehow. He was like in every corner of the room. And I had so many people tell me 2 things. One, they're like, man, your team is amazing. Like, what good people. And then same thing, like, Ari, such a good guy. I like the way you communicate. Like, there's just a lot of positive feedback that I got. Like, all right, we got to find a way to make sure that this works for him. And the guy has been spreading himself thin, which is just the nature of starting a business. I think we've all been spreading ourselves thin, but yeah, it's a big honor, man. And it's cool, full circle, that we come from the same hometown. All right, now we're talking about this the other day. The weird thing is there's so many Leah members from my hometown. Some I never knew, and then some that I did know. But there's been like a small 831 cult that's been built inside of Leah. One thing I wanted to say, and then Ari, we can just riff if you got any questions. But one thing I wanted to say too, I've been seeing this happen a lot in the last few days, last few weeks. If you're a Land Insights user, or even if you're not, I guess it doesn't have to be. But folks, I'll start with Land Insights users. Folks are loading up for the end of the year and pre-buying credits or doing like a year subscription or unlimited data to have a write-off to work again. So if you know you're going to be using the tool next year or pulling data or you need credits, whatever, load up. Like, it's like we just had a bunch of people do that today and previously this week. And then same thing, if you're not a Land Insights user, I think in general, if you're planning 2025, what I would always do is I would always just load up on the tools that I needed. So like, see if I can pay my CRM for a year outright, mail, things along those lines. But it's funny, I was thinking back the other day, 2 or 3 years ago, I prepaid for my credits for DataTree for a year. Dude, if I could tell you guys what I spent, I mean, it was so much money. And
they're not giving you good love over there. I will say one thing to add to that too is like preloading up on credits, super valuable. Usually when you load up on something, you can only use it for one thing, right? So if I load up on mailers, I'm only sending mailers. But the cool thing is it's that tax expense, and then also you can use it for scrubbing, skip tracing, or data, or all 3. So it's super versatile, and obviously you're going to use it in 2025. So
yeah. And for the folks who are like, why would you do that? It's to help with your taxes. So, anyways, man, what do you want to touch on? What you got for me?
Dude, I actually have big plans for my land business in 2025. I don't have many questions. I've been around the block at this point where it's cool to see how everybody has built their business and take away certain aspects that I think I want to change about myself, my own. I noticed like Ben's over here kind of texting now. And trying to build his kind of his standards or his SOPs around texting. That's something that I'm trying to get dialed in as well with a couple different marketing channels. So we're kind of playing ball with cold call texting, and mail is always going to be my like last resort. It's the most trusted, obviously, but if I can try and get to leads through another avenue, which is quicker, I'm trying to eliminate the need to spend 50 cents on a mailer or 50 plus cents. So that's kind of the idea we're going after. I love the idea of what you and Mayor have going on with land emails. Shameless plug, but I think that's an untapped marketing channel. I think that most people don't even want to deal with emails, and so it's something that I've considered. I want to play that game. I also don't want to be overloaded on leads, and so that's actually right now I'm looking to try and hire an AM to add to the mix and try and get all of these leads kind of handled. I have someone that I'm partnering with, actually someone else who's 831, and then we're gonna kill it together. So 2025 is gonna be a massive year. I think probably if I could ask for any advice, is how do you lock in a killer AM that is only commission? I mean, do you have any advice for that? Because I found that a lot of people want that hourly wage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, the first thing with hiring is just the selection for the right person. There's so much emphasis on like training and culture, and we can touch on that a bit, but it's like, what is like the prospect pool that you're looking in? And then, so like there has to be a cohort that's well fit for this. So what I mean is like, if you started putting up listings on Indeed or wherever, wrong pool of people, right? You start putting it up in the right places though, you're going to get folks that are looking for just that. So you got to be barking up the right tree. And then to find the right person really is a game of just large numbers. Like you just work through a shit ton of candidates, Like we've hired 5 people in the last month in between all the different businesses. And I don't know the exact quantity, but a shocking number of interviews or prospective interviews that we have to work through to find the right person. So you're going to say no way more than you say yes. Think about it as similar numbers for the land business, right? You put up a job listing, it gets 2,000 views, 50 people opt in, 10 make it to an interview, 1 person you hire. So it's a lot of work. That's why hiring, people have full-time teams in their business just to work on hiring. Now, what would be a good lead pool? Well, definitely not in places where people are looking for a job. That's the wrong lead pool. They're always going to want to know. So you look for the lead pool of people that want to do what you're doing, but don't have the means or maybe even the want to run it full time themselves. There's a place called Leah or Discord where we've had countless folks do just that. And so that's what Ben has done with Nick, and there's a million examples. I've done it multiple times. So there's a lot of folks that want to get paid to learn, and it's a great avenue for them. Or there's people out there that just don't really want to run it on their own, and they're stoked to work with someone in this industry. And that's nice too, because they should come in with some context or kind of like groomed a bit for land, if you will. Now, while you're not paying them an hourly, you need to compensate with really good comp plan, and you have to have a killer business. So people, if they're going to take a gamble on you, they've got to get paid 7.5%, 10%, maybe even 12% gross profit on the deals that you're bringing in for them. And they have to be in a business where leads are flying around to make it worth their time. So like on track, if someone's an amazing intern, they should be able to make 40, 50K plus a year, maybe 6 figures. Who knows? Now it's a high turnover game. So these people aren't going to be with you for more than maybe a year or two. Maybe you graduate them to a full-time role, but many people are going to churn. There's give and take to everything. I mean, having essentially free labor comes with its own set of problems like churn. And it's hard to hold a very high standard, as in our speed to lead is 15 minutes. It's like, dude, I don't work for you kind of thing. Now you can work past that with finding the right people.
Okay.
So that's one element of it. The second thing is in terms of the business. So yeah, the business has to be generating leads. Okay, that's obvious. But the business also has to be like, is it a place where this person's going to become better? Right? Are you an amazing land investor that can teach them a thing or two? They're going to walk away with a skill set. No matter what they get paid, they're going to leave a better land investor. They have to know that and see that and feel that. And then even beyond that, it's like, are you an aspirational person? And is the business aspirational?
Sure.
Right. Think about Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett could probably have 100,000 free interns if he wanted to, because the guy's so aspirational.
Yeah.
So I find that folks that try to hire interns that are like 6 months in, it's like no one wants to work with you.
Yeah.
So you're 6 months in, but like you've got to bring something to the table in excess of just giving them leads.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny. I think about it a little bit. Maybe it's irony, maybe it's not, but it's like a lot of the training that I find that I want to give to any new team member that joins my team, not just an AM, but it's training on land insights. And what am I going to do? I'm going to point them to the course. And who made the course? This guy. So, if I wrote the course on land insights, I mean, these people are they're getting to ask me like questions, and it's nice. It's nice because it's my own land business, and I'm trying to kill it for myself too, so that when I speak to these other land investors out here, users, all of you users out there who want to know that the tool works, right? You want to get those strategies. I mean, these are things that I implement on my own business so that I'm winning. Like we have a huge goal in 2025. We're planning this out by quarters, and so by Q3, I mean we're looking to be further than we've been in the last 2 years combined, and it's supposed to be a big year. We've already got the groundwork laid, and Land Insights just makes that so much easier. So I'm not really skeptical that we'll hit any one of our goals. Just getting the right players fit into the team is a very important piece of the puzzle. I just don't feel like we've gotten that down just yet. Coming into January, I want that AM to be in their spot, ready to really kill it. And we've got leads coming in already, so it's not like we can't give them that onboarding experience. But I really want it to be dialed in. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen like mid Q1. I'm really trying to push it. It does feel like I'm a little late to the game when hiring this AM. So that's why I'm trying to get all that Sumner info.
You're never late to the game, man. And I would be careful making comparisons. It's like,
but if I was making comparisons, I'm a couple years late, right? Like, when did you start? 2020?
2019. But dude, here's the problem. It's like your most valuable resource as an entrepreneur is your energy, and maybe just as a human in general. And so anything that taints your energy or reduces the quantity of energy you have is disastrous. So I don't even care if my beliefs are true. If they serve me, I'm going to believe them. You know what I mean? So forget any of the you're late to the game. You're right where you need to be. I would only believe that, and I wouldn't ever question it. And so, make sure
I love that. That's actually that's a powerful note to wrap things up on. Honestly, it should say on the screen, 2024 is still the year. I love that.
Yeah. Anything else, man?
No, man, that helps me out a ton. I'm happy to have been given the opportunity to hop on here too. Appreciate you.
Of course, bro. All right, man. Well, have a great weekend, okay?
Yeah, will do.
All right, see ya. Bye. David, what's up, man?
Get off mute here. How's it going, man?
That too. You got the Land Insights poster in the office.
I am, dude. Absolutely. I love checking it out.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, totally.
For you guys that don't know, too briefly, I'll just fill everyone in. We made all these cool maps of the U.S. kind of inches style for the folks at the mastermind this year, and we made too many, and they were very expensive and hard to make. So we had like 100 left over that we didn't know what to do with, so we gave them out to like the staff at the event. But I think everyone's still left with one. But I want to see that on everyone's background. When we get on a call, I want to see that in the background. So shout out to you, David.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. It's good, man. Everything's great. Just one foot in front of the other, trying to get myself positioned in to where I want to be. I know funny traveling with that. I think that was the biggest, fortunately the flight attendant kind of tucked it in a nice spot and we were able to get it back home. And I think it was Anthony. I think he was looking at doing a push pin deal. I'm like, my sons helped put it up with me, but I was like, maybe that's kind of a cool idea, right? For each deal, start putting some pins up.
I like that, man. Yeah. So I think that's a cool angle. I should do that too. The funny thing is I left mine in America. I didn't even dare fly it out with me. So I guess I'm guilty as charged. I'll bring it back once I get there. I like that idea. That's
no doubt. Yeah. I kind of had the question, obviously coaches, mindset call was really good. He brought, obviously his energy is awesome and amazing, and had some good things to share with me. Obviously running the full-time appraisal business that's super demanding now that it's just me, because through 2 cycles, obviously with that business through, built it up in 2000, 3 to 7, tore it down in 7, 8, right? 2007, 2008, then kind of went internal. And then anyway, just built up the appraisal business with a couple of folks here, at the end of 22. And then kind of with the rates going up, that business is very volatile with rates and or the economy or banking. And so anyway, kind of the point I was getting to was obviously with your speech at the event and building it, obviously the video's out now too. Watch that again on building a team. And I've been fortunate to have some really good teams, family, close friends, kind of like you talked about, like these were the people I wanted to work with. I guess the painful thing is when you build it up and you tear it down with those people, you ride that full cycle, and that sucks, right? Your mom, your brother-in-law, your good buddies, in 07, Washington Mutual goes away, Countrywide, 5-figure a month business clients that are gone. And you're like, what do we do now? So you carry it for a while, and then you find yourself deep. And then anyway, so you move on. So I go through a couple cycles. We've done that. We built it small. And ultimately, I think, through one of your videos, I was like, oh, the light bulb was like, and I've known it for a long time because I've tried to get into some other businesses. It's a tough vehicle, right? The vehicle only provides so much. So anyway, transitioning here, I'm doing it full time. It's taking a crap ton of time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally like a full time and then some. So call it whatever, 6-7 days a week right now to look after the family, which is great. It's awesome, man. Like I got a wife, 3 boys. It's important to do that, and I'm super stoked. But I'm like, okay, the business is changing this next year. The GSEs are putting in requirements that are going to make it even more of a pain in the ass, and then so it's going to be more involved. So the timeline is like, all right, we got to get this ramped up, and so kind of through coach's call and looking at some different things. Got a real nice book someone sent me.
There you go.
Right. You know what I mean? So working on some things. And I think what my question is like, all right, I need to buy some time. Right. Coach talked about like, well, laundry and food. And like my wife is awesome in that department. And like, I've got those little things like I can shave some time. Right. So I'm like, okay, maybe with the day-to-day operations with the appraisal biz and maybe some of the smaller things doing prep for the land biz coming into 2025, because I've got all the tools in place. I'm ready to go. It's just now like I need a little extra time to do the business, right? When I talk to people, I have success. Just this last week, I had a small win. Got a gentleman under contract, going to do a $2,500 assignment to the neighbor. Nice. You know what I mean? To buy it. So it's funny in the chat. I don't know if Alex is in the chat. Funny enough, one of the neighbors, I saw the ownership change. Alex looks like he bought it and sold it to one of the neighbors that we were working on getting an easement across the property. So funny, small world.
Yeah.
Like, the land investors are out there. Yeah. But anyway, so, little things like that. Had a good win there. Had a good win last year. It's just like I had to get consistent and do that. So, loaded up with Rocket. We got all the tools we need. Now it's like, okay, between the current biz and building the land biz. So my question is maybe a generalist VA or someone other than a hire here. I'd like to hire locally, but yeah, like maybe that extra cost or what have you. Maybe it needs to be one or the other to kind of buy me a little time. Yeah. And I guess my question is, having worked with VAs, which I have not, I've kind of been strictly kind of, in the same room, that the US based person that is just a traditional kind of brick and mortar type shop, the VA process in your experience with that. I'm trying to get comfortable with it.
Yeah, let's dive in. Before we talk about the VAs, have you done in your land business just like a time audit, like where your time's going?
I've been doing it this last week. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's helpful.
Cool. Yeah. What's eating up most of your time?
Doing appraisal work. So, you'll spend 3 hours in the field, which great. Yeah. Some YouTube content and keep on track. So maybe I spent 3 hours in the field. Then maybe I'm spending 2 to 3 hours back in the office wrapping up a report. So maybe a day appraisal is like 6. So between kind of your meals, catching emails, getting your calendar up to date. Yeah, you're pushing a 7-8 hour on appraisal. So then I'll squeeze in an hour or 2 to do whatever I need to for, but I have been working on that, and I know there's some time, and it's more focus, commitment to that each, and getting better at it. And the funny thing is, it's like, crap, dude, at 53, I'm definitely not as energy is fueled as when I was like, 25 to 40 even, what I mean? But it's like, I don't care. I'm still going to get there. But yeah, time audits, dude, that was a helpful point. And I've been working that this week, or actually since the call. So it's been like 3 weeks, and I think I can get better.
Okay, cool. All right, I got a lot of recommendations.
Okay, good.
First off, when you're kind of in the field for the appraisal business, could you take calls for the land business? Would that be appropriate?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So yeah, pretty easy advice. One thing that I'll say though, on the time audit, everyone thinks about what can we delegate, but I also want to think like, what could we just chop off the block in general? Like we might be suboptimal in some areas, but is there any chopping that we can do? Like when we think about creating leverage in a business, and we talk about delegation, elimination, or automation. So definitely eliminating where possible. The other thing in terms of energy, this is a weird question, but do you work out at all?
I do a little bit. Yeah. You working out?
Yeah. Going to the gym or running or whatever.
I try to do, like an hour in the morning, like stretching and kind of more yoga type stuff, but like to get my day started right. But I can be better at that. Obviously, I saw your call with Jeremy the other day, or your hang, and I'm like, okay, I could do better there too, right?
Yeah. Look at like the modality doesn't matter. Like, it could be yoga, running, it could be boxing, whatever.
Yeah.
But I just find it's one of those weird things that gives more than it takes, and it sounds counterproductive. Like, why should I go to the gym if I'm trying to get work done or whatever it is? But like I was saying, Ari, like, energy is the resource, and so anything that gives us more energy, I'm gonna take as much as I possibly can. So you might lose 45 minutes, but I gain so much more energy that I can redirect tomorrow towards my work. All right, so that's the first thing.
Good.
So yeah, the higher recommendation for the land business is really just super simple. There actually might even be some overlap with the appraisal stuff. We'll see. So definitely a generalist VA, definitely overseas. It's got to be overseas. This is going to be too expensive. It wouldn't make sense. And frankly, most people probably wouldn't want to do that work in America. Most folks are too entitled to do some of this stuff. So
sure,
that generalist VA, we're probably going to pretty much direct them, especially because right now you're not doing a ton of deals, so it's not like a bunch of TC work for them to do. Like, most of their time in the beginning, and it's a very fluid role that we can kind of reposition over time. But I would really have them doing everything under the sun: market selection, pull the data, not do the pricing, but aggregate the pricing. It's like the kind of thesis, take the Redfin data, get it all in there. You come in, give it the chef's kiss, give it like the final approval. They put it in, mail merge it, send it to Rocket Print Mail. And then really your time should just be taking calls. And then what they do is they should help you, if they have the ability, to help just do some like simple underwriting when new leads come in. So just like a note inside of your CRM. There's not going to be a huge quantity of leads. It's very doable for their time.
Yeah.
I would use Slack for you guys. And so I don't know the best way to go about this, but they could put they could have a Slack channel that's like deals that needs David's approval or review or underwriting. And so, trying to get them to where they're doing the work towards getting to a point where you are approving it. And then the work outside of that for you is taking calls, doing follow-ups. And they can set all those tasks for you. They say, David, you made 10 calls last week. You've got to follow up with these 8 people, 2 we disqualified. They're keeping their CRM clean. They're tracking your KPIs. And are you doing all the email in the appraisal business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of busy work that someone absolutely could do. And I've had staff in the past, but I'm like, totally, dude.
Kind of a crazy idea. I usually don't like sharing resources for team members, but maybe you hire another generalist VA that can just help manage some of the back end stuff for the appraisal business. Now let's talk about what this is going to cost you. $5 to $8 an hour. So I would have them 160 hours a month full time. I wouldn't go part time on this. You'll be able to find stuff for them to do no matter what. And especially if you're pulling a decent amount of data, it's going to take up the bulk of their time.
Sure.
Where would I find them? Well, okay. First off, I'm totally like non-specific with geography for this kind of role because they're not going to be taking any calls. So they could be from any corner of the world. Yeah. The areas that everyone goes to is going to be Latin America or the Philippines. Mm-hmm. I think I talked about this on a recent call. I don't know if it was on Monday, but just like in lands, like when people zig, I want to zag. And so I'm looking at new pools of potential candidates where other people aren't going. So I've been working in Egypt and South Africa. We're actually hiring someone from South Africa this week. Similar rates, definitely more like maybe not for Egypt, but in South Africa, definitely like more clued into like Western business culture norms. And then I found the folks in Egypt are like most places in the world. They're just really hard workers. They're definitely more positioned to being great on the phone. Like they're really good AMs and cold callers. But anyways, you don't have to be dogmatic about the place, but you've got a lot of options. I just put something in the chat for everyone here. So again, time is limited for you. I usually like to teach a man how to fish and they go do all this stuff on their own, but there's probably some urgency and they probably want to get it done sooner rather than later. You probably want to get it done right. So I would think about using a service like Outsource Your Tasks, Support Shepherd, Recruit a Graduate. Well, essentially what these are is they are not VA placement agencies. You want to watch out for those. I don't like those at all. Yeah. But these are just VA recruiters that will go do all the busy work. The math that I gave Ari, 1,000 views on a listing, 50 replies, really that down. So they'll go and bring you 4 or 5 candidates that have met all those different stages and got past them. You hop on a call with them, you interview them. They're really, really quality folks. They're really freaking good. And
Yeah.
outsource your tasks has a 1 year, it's weird to put it, a 1 year like return policy. So for a weird phrase, but like if they're the wrong fit, yeah, you hired a bad actor, they'll replace it for you in that year. So I use OIT more than any other service. I just use this thing called Recruit a Graduate. I hated their process. I thought they were terrible, but they did bring me one good candidate. So you'll pay whatever, $1,500, $1,600. I think it's money well spent. Now, if you don't want to do that, you'll have to go to like these lead pools for VAs. The one that I've been using lately or experimenting with are Facebook groups. Those have been performing really well for me. So there's like Facebook groups for VAs in every corner of the world. Put your job listings in there and you're going to get a crap ton of candidates. But that's the problem with hiring VAs. There's such a huge supply of workers that you have to work through so many interviews. And to be honest, I'd say 90% are not good fits. So you've got to be like really, really. Oh, he said link's broken. I'll get the right link for you. You got to be really critical with who you let in.
You got to kind of send them through your own gauntlet a bit.
Dude, serious gauntlet. Yeah, we're doing like crazy stuff. I'm like, they're watching videos and sending written reports on it. They've got multiple homework assignments. We'll do little honesty tests. You'll find not that these people are inherently dishonest, but they tend to be dishonest when it comes to work because there's such a distance in between you that they think they can pull the wool over your eyes. So you got to be really careful with them. So
kind of working kind of within your systems and like Slack and all the softwares that are available. It's like pretty comfortable. I mean, it's like anything. Obviously, to get it, that's like some of the tools in the appraisal side. It's like, oh, geez, like to get them on the MLS, they got to like take a class and do some different things. So anyway, that's just the rub of that. But like, just get them in like Slack and in the documents and CRM type stuff. And
so I'm not so worried about giving them access. Yeah, the tool giving access to the tools is fine. If they leave, we'll just change our passwords. Yeah, but cool. The big thing is like they'll try to like double up on work, and so they'll have multiple jobs, or they'll say they're working when they're not.
Yeah. I lose you. Let's see.
And die by Slack. They become a Slack fiend. We look at how engaged they are inside of Slack, so you can see their activity status. That should pretty much never be off unless they're clocked out. If they're going to take a lunch, they report that. They have daily reports. So you've really got to manage these people pretty closely, but you can systematize it so it doesn't take too much of your time. They are going to need some kind of interfacing with you, so probably a weekly check-in call. The churn for overseas people is really high. A, because most people are bad at hiring them, but B, people don't know how, like, they treat them different as if they're not an employee. So like you need that same culture that you'd have with a local hire.
Have you been able to keep some of those folks on for a longer period of time? Like you've invested that and they've stuck with you?
Dude, we've got a crazy good strike rate now in people that are with us for 2, 3, 4 years. But in the beginning, it was like 6 months. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? And there was a lot of stuff that was wrong in how I was running the business. But the biggest thing, like the 80-20 on it, was just hiring the wrong people.
Got it.
I can't stress it enough. It's like finding a wife or a husband. It's like the selection of the partner probably matters more than anything else, you got to select the right person. And so if you haven't done that, you're swimming upstream. And then what I was going to say too is everyone needs an incentive, right? So what I lay out, and everyone needs a mission. So I lay out a big rock. What's the big inspiring mission that we're taking down? And that could also be like the global vision for the business. Like we're going to democratize land for people, or whatever the big vision is. Then you need like a big hairy goal for that year, and we break it down into quarters. And even though they're not like a direct contributor, they still need to have some kind of incentive. So maybe the big goal is we're going to do 100 deals. You reverse engineer the math. We need to send out 300,000 letters to do that, and they have quarterly rocks to get there. And they have to say, all right, every quarter we have to hit whatever 75,000 letters. I need us to maintain a 0.5% response rate. If you hit that, you're going to get a bonus on that, and things along those lines. So they should
absolutely, dude. Yeah, I think I like that, and I just kind of, as I've gone down, trying to make it work, and I'm like, well, I'm okay with killing myself, but like asking for some help and getting some help is a good idea too. So
Yeah,
I wanted to get your take there, and the light bulb kind of this week. I was like, that's maybe where I need to go next, and maybe the VA's more cost effective way, of which I've never done it that way. So I'm like, okay, maybe I need to get with the times, right? And try at least try it out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
you've got more time than money, right? So when someone's in that situation, you need help. You need an extra hand in the kitchen. And the cool thing is, dude, I mean, at most this is going to cost you $800, $1,200 a month. Like it's nothing. That I mean, that literally could take you from doing, hey, we're doing a deal every 2 months, to with that setup, you got the tool stack of Land Insights, you got the VA, you're taking the calls, you can do 3 to 4 deals a month. Now you'll probably run that for like 6 to 8 months until you're starting to pull your hair out. But you can certainly do it. Yeah.
Well, we want to get to doing one a month is kind of like the
One
short term goal in the new year. And like, obviously we're going to getting started in the new year. It may take a couple months, but that's the goal to get it rolling. So I appreciate it, man, as always.
Yeah, of course. Anything else you want me to touch on? You feel like that's enough to get you started?
I think that's where we're at today. So I'll let somebody else, if they want to pop in, jump in as well. Cool platform. I like this. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's a new idea. We're testing it. If you guys enjoy it, we'll run this maybe monthly or bi-weekly or something.
It's cool.
I'm building out a whole filming office at our house. We actually just moved in last night. The internet wasn't set up yet. So
Congrats.
Thank you, man. Yeah. I hop on the dirt bike this morning. I'm like racing over here to get here on time. So I'm in this little co-working space, but I want to build out like a really cool, like call-in vibe, Dave Ramsey vibe for this call setup. So if you guys like it, show me a little thumbs up or let me know in the comments. But anyways, David, thanks for hopping on, man. I'm sure you'll have more questions. We can always riff on this deeper inside of Leah or on another.
Totally. Keep you updated. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
You too.
All right. Who else we got on the docket? All right, guys, someone join the waiting room. Don't break my heart like that. Come on, y'all. There's some questions in the chat that I'll answer while I wait for someone to hop in here. Guys, grab the link that I put, hop in the waiting room, and we'll riff. So there's a couple questions about the 90 Days Zero to Hero. Okay. That's our beginner program. It's $499. It's essentially free in the land space considered to what other programs cost. Now, let me be really clear on what that program is. Right? Are you going to build a land business through that program? No. What you are going to do is become a deal maker. So you can go and start getting deals, which is kind of like the domino effect to having cash flow to build a business. Now, to be honest, the minority of folks are going to build a business on their own. You either need like a coaching, a mentor, a friend, someone that's in this business already doing what you're doing. Like you need someone to shadow, in my opinion, to build a bona fide business, especially if this is your first go around building businesses. Like I tell people, it's like drinking from a fire hose. Like it's a lot to take down. So the kind of premise with that 90 Days Zero to Hero program, which is a case study program. So we took Dennis Yasko when he was brand new. We documented the whole process, and in 90 days, we racked up $240,000 in this pipeline of deals. He's gone on to build a 7-figure business the year after, which is this year. So we documented that whole entire process. So it's kind of like watching over the shoulder as we're doing that. I think like the typical outcome that we see is like most people in that program eventually join Leah. But usually what they'll do is they'll go through there, they'll go get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 deals, get some liquidity, get some money in the bank, and then invest into actually going and building a business. So how much does the Lead Group Coaching Program cost? That's our 12-month group coaching program. We've got a 6-figure guarantee inside that program. So 6 figures in gross pipeline profit in 12 months. If you don't hit that, we'll work with you until you get there. Now, of course, we have requirements, marketing requirements, and activity metrics that you have to hit to actually ensure that you're tracking along like the roadmap to get there. It's a $10,000 program, right? So that's the commitment for folks that are ready to dive into the deep end. Now, most people inside there have already done a deal or they have some liquidity built up and they want to just hit the fast button and just. Now, again, there's really, in my opinion, there's no program like Leah. Like there's nothing that achieves the let me teach you the skill of land investing and I'm going to show you how to go build a business on top of it. In fact, since we've been on this call, I just want to share some of the wins that have been given to me from Leah members since we've been here. We've got Dylan, who actually just joined Leah last week. Now, he actually joined one of our courses about 2 years ago and just joined Leah last week. Just closed on a deal, bought for $8,000, sold for $45,000 this week. Second sale this week, buy for $25,000, sell for $40,000. That's the freaking someone. So that's the median U.S. income for a year in 2 deals in 1 week. We've got Corbin. I don't even think Corbin's 21 years old. I think Corbin's like 19 or 20, which is amazing. And he just closed his first big boy deal, bought it for $50,000, sold for $125,000 within an hour of listing the property, 1 hour on market. And that's really what happens when you kind of put our principles to practice. We go find these little honey holes, these liquidity pools where no one else is looking, to go find deals that fly off the shelves like that and have big spreads. If you're following the antiquated strategy of working where everyone else is working, A, you never hit home runs or very rarely. And B, there's no liquidity there, right? Go look at Alamosa County, Mojave County, Costilla County. Those places have way more supply than demand, and they're picked over, right? There's hundreds of thousands of letters going out there every single month because it's obvious. And in this business, we're arbitraging information. I'm trying to find the non-obvious places that have liquidity. Part of the reason we bought, not bought, it's part of the reason we built Land Insights. He just locked up a second deal this week too. He sent 83 pieces of mail to get this deal. 83. Buy for 18, sell for $35,000 to $40,000. Guess what happens when you're hyper targeted with your mailers? 83 records. That's $40 in marketing spend for a deal that's got, call it $15,000 to $18,000 of spread on it. Show me any other program delivers results like that. I'll wait. Hello, Land. I fixed the link, so that should be good for you now. Come on, guys, hop on in here. Winner one says, is it possible to be a successful land investor just using the Zero to Hero course? Again, a successful deal maker, someone that can go and generate deals. You're not going to build a high leverage business. It's really just focused on how do we select markets? How do we price those markets? How do we go and get leads in our CRM? How do we call and talk to those leads? We've got recorded sales calls that you can listen to. How do we lock these things up? You have all the contracts that you need. How do we go and list them? And that's it, right? Which in the beginning, like that's really what you need to focus on. And eventually you start talking about, okay, how do we actually scale this thing? That's a whole different skill set. All right, guys, come on now. Someone else wants to join. Don't be scared. Hop on in. Let's have some fun. Let's riff. Whatever you got. No questions off limits. I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys. It's waiting for you. Someone click that StreamYard link and don't keep me waiting. Come on now. This is for you guys. I want this to be valuable. Whether you're new, you're seasoned, someone click that StreamYard link and get in here. Cool, thanks. I'm gonna have you get in here. Cool, thanks. I know that link. Cool, thanks. Yeah, David, the young guns are killing it, dude. We've got multiple people that are just on fire. Rylan is 24 years old. He just bought a house that's about a $2 million house this week. The dude's like, actually, I think he just turned 25. 25 years old. He started with us when he was 20 years old. No one's too young to start in this business. And boy, do I wish I started when I was 18, 19, 20. We've got a guy that joined Leah and lives in Poland. He joined Leah when he was 18 years old in high school and has built a business. In fact, he's flying all of his friends out to Miami from Poland to celebrate his birthday, paying for everything, accommodations, flights. And the dude's 19. And he joined when he was in high school. It's just bananas. All right, Marquis, what's up, man? Welcome.
Hey, what's up? So I've been wholesaling for like a few years over here in Ohio, and it's kind of been like a little side hustle. This year I've done like 10 wholesale deals in the single family, so it's kind of taken off for me a little bit, but I do a lot of marketing and I've never targeted land or anything like that, first of all. But second of all, I kind of been noticing like the direct mail approach for mail, and I've never done direct mail. So I was just kind of thinking like it almost just makes sense to just kind of, add this to my marketing because I've done wholesaling before. So I'm just wondering like if you're familiar with wholesaling, or like what are the major differences? I know like we take possession, we can buy it with hard or private money, and then we list the property, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's touch on it. And are you Cool Thanks? Is that you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like the username. Yeah. So definitely familiar with wholesaling. That's actually how I got into land. Was I was trying to wholesale in San Diego, funnily enough, and I stumbled upon a tax delinquent list for land and started marketing to it, and then got my first land deal. And I was like, wow, this is way better. And I was door knocking in San Diego. So it was terrible. A lot of our members started wholesaling. I don't know if you know who Michael Bull is. He was wholesaling houses in Augusta, Georgia, buying houses for like $7,000 and selling it for like 15, 25 grand. So yeah, some major differences. And one thing that I'll just clarify too, in lands, we typically are going to either cash close or we'll do like a novation double close. So there's like some mirroring, and I know novations are popular in single family houses now. Very rarely do we do like straight up assignments, but it happens. There's 2 people on this call today that are in Leah that did assignments, but it's rare. There's not a lot of end buyers that are looking to have contracts assigned to them in land. So literally the only similarity actually between the two, actually there's three. I was going to say 2, but there's really 3. One is like just the premise of direct to owner, but the marketing is really different, both the channels and how we market. So that's one overlap. The biggest overlap is the acquisition process, right? Like, if you're good at talking to homeowners, you're going to crush in land. Like, that's such a leg up. And when someone comes to Leah or joins the land business as a newbie, the 2 things that matter most, you got to get really freaking good at picking the right markets, because most markets in the US suck for buying and selling land. Most markets also have too much competition, and you need to know how to create accurate offer prices in your marketing. And you need to be good on the phones. And if you can do that, you could do, I see folks doing 300, 400K a year with no team members, and they're just good at those 2 things. Like the sky's the limit. So that's the overlap. Everything else is radically different. The tools that you need, how we underwrite deals, how we think about marketing. So let's talk about the things that you need to watch out for that are going to be radically different. One, you got to become a market selection junkie, which is going to be very foreign to you. I'll give you just like how much do you know about that?
So I guess that's really like the biggest thing for me. I'm really good at sales and like marketing, but I've never done direct mail, which is not a problem. Like I'm pretty comfortable with I would be pretty comfortable with spending money on direct mail. But yeah, finding the counties for land, I know it has to be, it is more of a difficult process versus, wholesaling. Because I found a house out here locally in Ohio, but she didn't want to sell the house. She wanted to sell some parcels in Florida. So this is kind of how like I got the bug for land recently. It was a small assignment, but I was like, wow, this was even easier. I mean, I don't have to worry about the house, the repairs. I don't really need pictures of this thing. I just locked it up and someone in Florida, purchased it. So yeah, selecting a counties and really digging deep is probably going to be, would be my biggest, something I really am not familiar with land, and especially with direct mail, because with cold calling, as I'm doing now, I can just do like a shotgun approach where I can just hit pretty much anything and everything. But for direct mail, I know we want to be more selected and things like that. So yeah.
Okay. And so we have like a very set roadmap that we teach inside of Leah of like marketing channels, the quantity, who you start to hire to build the team. You're in a bit of a different situation because you've already got the infrastructure set up for cold calling and whatnot. Most people that come to us, this is what it looks like. They have a full-time job or a full-time other business that has nothing to do with land investing. I would say maybe like 20% of our members are wholesalers or like rental property people. But most folks come to us, they have like e-commerce businesses, or they work they're like an engineer or whatever. So they're starting with limited time. And so using direct mail is what I call a proactive marketing channel. You can build out your campaigns whenever you have time, nights, weekends. You could do it on the toilet if you wanted to. You'll send it out. You get a low quantity of leads, but really high quality leads. Dude, if you already have the infrastructure and you're full time in this, yeah.
So right now I'm actually like a full-time college student. So like this year, I'll be graduating like next semester, right? But I don't plan on using really that degree as my plan. Okay. So I'm really just looking to take things to the next level. And like, I think land would really do it for me, to be honest with you, just because like I've done a lot of wholesale deals. I've done like a little parcel, it was 2 parcels in Florida, but it just seems like it's something I need to add. So yeah.
Okay, dude. I freaking love the hustle, man. Kudos to you. How old are you?
I just turned 27 in August. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I went to college for 6 months and dropped out that started a business, and I was like, dude, screw this. But that's awesome.
Yeah, I was literally sitting in class. I was like, man, I really can't do this anymore, man. Like I'm almost done with my degree. I'm like, I got to do something different. You know what I mean? So I literally wrote my goals down and I closed like a 26K assignment like in January while I was like after winter break. So I'm pretty familiar with single family and things like that, but the land, it just seems I don't want to say easier, but like almost less competition as well. So yeah.
100%. Yeah. I would look at the word easier. I'm always weary to use because business is just fucking hard. I mean, I don't care
No,
what
for sure. No.
you're going to get kicked in the face often. But what I will say is it's higher leverage. There's more upside with less complexity. That's still not easy, but I think it's a better vehicle, I would say, for sure. All right. So what I would say too, I mean, don't turn off what's working, right? Like if you're getting deals in the single family stuff, that's awesome. But I would seriously consider running these things in parallel and like split test. And I would swear on my mother's grave that land is going to outproduce houses. And once that does, just go all in on land. Like just put all the chips on the table. But what I was going to say is because you've already got the infrastructure, I might just start just pointing cold calls at land. Go test the model, see if it even resonates with you and you like it. And then if you like really dove in full time, I'd start adding direct mail and all that stuff. All right, let's talk about the market selection. So yeah, that's going to be the most foreign to you. We've got, I think, over 1,000 YouTube videos. So we've gone over the stuff ad nauseum. You can find a lot of content there and how we pick markets. We coined a term called sell-through rates. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Okay. So we've invented a little slice of this business that's very different than how anyone else runs it. There's a lot of ways to make money in land, right? Ours is just like one tiny modality. But what we do is we look for high sell-through rate markets. Okay. And so what we're looking for is how much of that current inventory turns over, right? We look at 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, and 12-month timeframes. And all you got to do is take the supply, take the sold quantity of that period, divide them, and see what that percentage is. Typically, we're looking for markets from like a really basic level with at least 100% sell-through rate in a 12-month period. Okay, that's a good starting point. So if there's 50 active listings, 50 should be turning over in a year. Now, there's way better markets out there. That's why we built this tool, Land Insights, so it aggregates all the U.S. data to show us where the hot pockets are for counties and zip codes, and we show all the pricing intel. And that's a really big point too. You're in the business where you just send things out or call people, and then you figure out the pricing on the fly. We actually have to solve for that in the beginning. We still underwrite it, and our offers might not always mirror what our marketing offer was, but it's a big part of what we do. Okay? So we have to find markets that have high turnover, high sell-through rates. We also have to have markets that don't have too much supply or too little supply. Too much supply bogs down your listings because there's very much an internet marketing game to this. You're not assigning this. You're not assigning to an LLC that will just buy everything you send them. You're going to like literal. Good luck. Like they'll never see you. So we really have to manage, can we work in a market where we're still going to get all the eyeballs? Now we also do that by positioning our listings correctly. So marketing and the disposition side is really important, and how we price our deals. Land is very illiquid compared to houses. You have to pass off a discount to the next party to get it to move quickly. Same thing with a signing, right? When you're wholesaling, that person's not buying at 100% of retail value. Similar premise here, minus the assignment. So not too much supply and not too little supply. That's for active inventory. If there's too little supply, statistically, the numbers are misleading. Right? You could have one active listing and one sold in last year. That's 100% sell-through rate, but it's not really that meaningful. So as a rule of thumb, we say 25 to 250 active listings. Rules are meant to be broken. That's broad strokes. Okay. Now, once we start looking at a county, let's say, for example, we found a hot county, I need to start breaking down the pricing. Okay. So I need to figure out how can I break this up into pricing that makes sense to create offers to owners. Now, I could talk to you about this for 3 months. I mean, it usually takes people about 4 to 12 weeks inside of Leah to get this to really click. Like out of the gate is what people struggle with the most because it's very weird. What we're looking for are pockets of homogeneous pricing. Now, there's 4 main ways that we do this: zip codes, polygons, acreage ranges, and subdivisions. And so we're looking for a schematic to take Polk County as an example and say, how can I break this down where I can make offers to owners that are accurate? Now, if I came in for this entire county and try to price out the 5 to 10 acres of the whole county, there's probably a huge delta in values, right? Some are closer to Asheville, some are farther away. And so what you might see is there's 5 acres trading at $20,000 in the last year. There's 5 acres trading at $200,000 last year. So how the hell can I bake out a reasonable price to give to an owner? I can't. But what if I came in, just as a hypothetical, I said, okay, I'm going to divide this up via polygons. So maybe I split it right down the middle vertically and I have prices for the west side and prices for the east side, and that cleans up the price. Now, I'm not just guessing. There's a way that we come up with this stuff, but that's just kind of like a general example, right? Then we export all the ownership data. So you come in here, you export your ownership data, and you say, okay, I'm going after this county. I need the 5 acres to 10 acres. They can only be 5% improved. So I don't want stuff that has houses on them. But hey, if they have a barn on them, that's okay. Put in all your kind of owner statistics. And yeah, you start kind of build out your data set. Again, that would probably take you like a week to get comfortable with. You're going to whittle down your list probably more than you do in houses. And then what we do is we export that ownership data, and what we have to go through and actually scrub out the bad properties. Now, this is where it gets a little weird. Now, I built out an AI scrubber in here that you upload your data sets, and it removes the landlocked properties, flood zone properties, wetlands properties. There's a lot of land out there that's just frankly garbage. We don't want to waste our marketing dollars or waste our acquisition time talking to those leads. So we have to whittle that out. House is not really like that, but here there's a lot of junk land in the US. Typically what that looks like is about 40 to 50% of your data is going to get scrubbed out. Now you can do that manually. It's like search the APN and like just pick them off, or you can use the AI scrubber, hire a VA to do it for you, but you can't waste your marketing dollars on properties you never want to buy. Then we take that into a spreadsheet. Once it's scrubbed, we go and kind of create a pricing conclusion. So we might say, okay, 5 to 10 acres, we're seeing out here that they're trading between $5,000 and $7,000 an acre, okay, in the last year. Now we've removed the outlier comps. There's a lot that goes into that, but it's from a high level. Let's just say that's the range in the last year. I take the median, so I'm not going to use averages. I take the median price in between there, and then I go create offers off of that. All right, so I'm making blanketed conclusions, and I will be wrong on some of those properties. We're just trying to be right enough in most situations. We're also trying to be right enough with a seller to where when they call us, we pre-qualified them with price. We're not wasting our time, but we weren't so low that no one calls us. Usually that looks like offering about 35 to 75% of what the property is worth. And the reason there's a big range there, we have different offer percentages for different price points. So a $10,000 property, I'm offering a much lower percentage for a multitude of reasons than I am $1 million property. So those offer percentages will kind of most people would go and mail them. We have to mail them a 2-page letter. One's got a purchase agreement, one's got kind of a cover letter, and then people start calling us back. Right? Now, most people inside of Leah will see, if you're really good, 2,500 letters per deal. If you're getting started, figuring it out, 4,000, 5,000 letters per deal. Now, the average gross profit on the deals that we do for our little, what we call our mid-market strategy, is $20,000 spread. But I promise you, that's the easiest $20,000 you've ever made relative to wholesaling a house, you know. And you will get outliers, 6-figure deals, $50,000 deals, but the average blended together about $20,000, $25,000. There are folks that are higher. Yeah.
Does your because I was kind of scrolling through your YouTube and things like that, like just probably like recently. Does the $500 course, what does it have the marketing outline like in it, like how to drop the marketing and things like that? Because I guess I was thinking maybe just take that first, maybe close a deal, you know, and then after that join the group after that, because I'm really big into really spending money on mentorship. Like, man, 100%. I spend so much money on mentorship, you know, just for wholesaling. So if I'm getting into land, all I like to do is really just copy and paste. And that's really it. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So we don't really leave anything to the imagination up until you go and sell your property. So it's like everything from start to finish, right? To go get a deal. So everything from how do we actually go select our markets, price our markets, send the mail out? Who do we use to send the mail out? Seller comes in. How do we have those conversations? How do we underwrite the deal? How do we go list the deal? That's kind of the program in a nutshell. And it's going through live examples. Like we're actually showing the deals that we're doing in real time. Now, if you want to go and say, Sumner, how do I go and hire this role, or how do I scale it to 50,000 offers a month? Like that's a whole different can of worms. But yeah, everything A to Z for going and getting half a dozen deals or what have you.
Yeah, no,
I would say start there. Go and copy and paste that to what you're doing now, and just go and test it. And I have a whole thing that we say inside of Leah. Maria was talking about this in the beginning of the call, who's a member. Surrender to the system. Like literally, it's a business in a box. Copy and paste it. Don't get cute. Don't draw outside the lines. You know, a few years from now, you can start to iterate, but 100%. If you have that mindset, you're going to crush. There's 2 things that I look at for folks that do really well on the education side when they come into the space. 1, they don't deviate from the model. I'm trying to copy and paste. And then 2, they take the education more serious in the beginning than they take the action in the business. So what I don't want to see people do is they come in, they say, I'm so eager to get a deal, Sumner. Screw the coaching calls, screw the modules. I'm just going full in, and they get hurt. Like this business is very much a razor's edge. Like if you're slightly off, it just doesn't work. So you got to be like right on target. So if you have that mindset, you're going to crush.
No, man, no, it's crazy just because it was just recently I've really been digging into land, and like I just been kind of digging in, and it just makes sense. It makes complete sense. With sales marketing, you have your disposition side as well. It's a little bit different, but that still makes sense. I've been understanding novation, so that makes sense as well. But no, I appreciate you for letting me, sit up here and talk to you for a while. 'Cause I already understand. I already know your time is very valuable, and thanks for answering my questions. I'm more than likely going to join that course. Grab a deal. Maybe we'll do an interview after that, and then my plan after that, and learn how to scale it, man. So I appreciate you.
Let's do it, man. No, thanks for hopping on, man. I'm glad that you popped in. And if you've got any questions before you join or outside of it, send me a message in Discord. Are you inside the Discord?
No, nope.
I'm gonna put that in the chat for you. Obviously, it's free to join. Land investor. Oh, hold on. Land investor. What the hell am I doing? Sorry. And where in Ohio are you?
In Cleveland, in the Cleveland area.
Okay. So we've got a gentleman named Brian Miller, who's a freaking animal. And he was doing like mobile home stuff before he joined Leah, doing like a year and a half ago, but he's in Ohio. He's in a small town. I don't know where he is, but if you, one thing I recommend, like, dude, go meet these people in the flesh, right? Whether it's meeting up people locally. Once you're in Discord, just put a shout out, like, yo, I'm in Cleveland. Who's out here? 5 responses. Oh, I'm close to you. Go meet up with these people. Like, go see it in the flesh. And if you can, go to events. We host a big one in October every year. It's pretty far away, but there's one coming up that I'm going to be at. It's in Colorado. It's called Supercars and Land. It's in June. Try to get there, man. I would really recommend it. Like, it's a game changer. I'm sure you've been to real estate events before. You probably already know this, but highly recommend.
No, man, I appreciate that. No, networking is huge. Like it's huge. Like I went to an event this year and I met some crazy connections, and I just really trying to invest more into myself this year, and especially into networking. And this really fits up my alley. So once again, I appreciate you, man. I'll make sure to join the Discord. I'll be in the first group soon. Like I said, I'll close the deal pretty soon, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then I'll move on from there, man. So once again, I appreciate you. Thanks a lot.
Of course, man. Great talking to you, man. Have a great weekend.
Yep.
See ya. All right. Who else wants to hop in, guys? Grab that StreamYard link and hop in here. I'm going to go through the questions that are in the chat while I wait for someone to hop in. Winner one says, how long does it take on average to get a deal inside Leah? And how long on average to sell it? Yeah, good question. So we'll talk in averages. Of course, everyone works at their own pace, right? There's people that come in. I saw Mike Arce that joined this call. There's people that come in that just hit the ground so heavy. They're like, I'm doing 20,000 mailers my first month, 50,000 the next month. Those people are going to get a deal way faster. There's folks that come in that tiptoe. And we've had people that join Leah who deliberately come in and get educated for 10 months before they send out their first mailer. And that's not a problem. That's just how they operate, right? We've got folks like a guy named Matt who joined Leah about a year and a half ago. I don't think he sent out his first campaign until 11 months in, right? But now he's doing deals consistently. And that's how he learned. He wanted to cross his T's, dot his I's, be really cautious, make sure that he was using his money correctly for marketing. So there's a range there. Let's say you're following the roadmap that we lay out, though, right? We provide homework assignments and kind of the cadence that we want our members to go through. Typically, that looks like getting your first contract in 90 to 120 days. I've seen it happen as fast as 30 days. So there's a range there. It can happen sooner. I like to err on the side of caution, right? You follow the roadmap that we outline. You're hitting the homework assignments. You're coming to the coaching calls to get your work reviewed before you start marketing, before you start buying deals. Typically, you get a contract in about 90 to 120 days. Now, the disposition side is a little more variable, right? We've got less control on what the market says about our listing. That's why we try to stack the cards, work in the right markets, list our properties at the right price, use the right realtors, syndicate the listings in the right places, list it appropriately. But there's still a delta there. I just shared that deal that Corbin just bought inside of Leah, buy for 50, sell for 125,000. He sold that in 1 hour. Like, so could that happen? For sure. But what I'd probably anticipate is more like 30 to 60 days to sell it. So the thing about this business is it's slow, right? It's super slow. The work that we do today, the seeds that we plant today, what's up, Mike? I'll let you on in a second. The seeds that we plant today typically don't come to fruition for about 6 months. And so in the beginning, when you're just getting started and you don't have anything in your pipeline, it feels like eons. But then that work starts to catch up to you. And now you're doing deals every 6 weeks, and then a deal every 4 weeks, and then eventually a deal every week. Some people are doing a deal every day. You know what I mean? But it takes time to get there. So this is very much like a compounding game. So like 6 months in, you might have gotten your first contract. 6 months later, maybe you've done 20 deals by then. So like the work has to catch up to you, and it's very slow. That annoys some people. That's why, like, do not get involved in this business if you're not thinking in decades, right? If you're trying to build a career here, you're going to do really well. If you're a flash in the pan trying to get rich, don't do it. Don't do it. If I get a whiff of that, we won't work with you, because it's just not the way I operate, not the kinds of folks that I want to see put their hard-earned money into land. Doesn't mean that you can't be successful elsewhere. It just isn't the business for you. Okay, this is a legitimate business. It's difficult. It takes time, but the upside is huge. I'm going to get these questions back, and I'm going to let you in. Andrew says, "What's the difference between a double close and a novation?" Honestly, they're slightly different in terms of the contracts that you use. They're pretty interchangeable in terms of what they do. The premise is we have a controlling interest in a property that allows us to go and market it on the MLS. Okay? And you'll do like a simultaneous closing. In some cases, you'll put no money into the deal. Sometimes you'll have to use transactional funding. Depends on the state that you're working in. It's the same premise. There's a million different contracts you can use for this. Okay, you could use an attorney in effect. You could use like a novation agreement. You could use like a hybrid purchase agreement, double close setup. I've used pretty much all of them. So the contract can vary a bit. Do you still need a power of attorney? It's very much who, not how. Okay. So yes, the rules change by state. There are state rules, but even within states, the realtor that you use and the title company that you use will really dictate more than anything how you have to contract it. Okay. Some brokerages will force you to use a POA, and some title companies will too. Some don't give a hoot. So it really depends on who you select. That's why selecting the right person is super important. We're actually building out a database for double closes inside of Land Insights for our users, because that's the hardest thing about them, is trying to find the right people. That's not easy. You got to find the right contacts. Now, once you've got the right contacts, though, you can just keep on using them again and again and again and again. And the right contact will make or break your double close process. It can make it a living hell, the worst thing you've ever done, or it can be as easy as cake. The state matters too. Like, you're not going to be double closing in South Carolina. Oklahoma is a hard state to do it in. So there are state variations. But even beyond that, I've seen people do double closes in what are considered the hardest states, take like California, and they've got the right agent and the right title company, and it's a cakewalk. So it really does vary. Last one, Victor says, "Have you looked into cold calling?" Yes, Victor, I've done cold calling. I've spent a lot of time looking at other people's KPIs on cold calling. This is the marketing stack that I recommend to everyone. Okay, really simple. I'm assuming you're not coming in with an existing real estate business and an existing resources as in a team. That would vary. But if you don't have a team and you're brand new, this is what it looks like. You start with direct mail. You scale that up to about 20,000 letters a month. It should take you about a year or two to get there. You'll start assembling a team. Then we bolt on texting into your business. You have to build a team around that as well. Then we move into what I call the icing on the cake marketing channels. Those could be cold calling, could be cold email, could be RVM, could even be PPC. That's pretty rare, but it could be PPC, pay-per-click. Those on their own are not good sole marketing channels. I would not run my business off those pretty much ever, but they're great icing on the cake, because once you own all of this data, you might as well hit it from every angle. You're going to extract deals, but the actual ROAS and the math on cold calling or cold email even, or PPC, is just not as good as those first marketing channels that I mentioned. So, I would never make it my sole thing. Now, one thing that you could do, okay, and I would probably stray away from hiring an agency. I mean, you could, I don't know. There's a big range in the quality of agency. So if you do hire an agency, pick them out really well. A guy who I would vouch for is Brandon Parker. Brandon's a great operator. They run a tight ship. They do a really good job. And he's like a very ethical business owner. They are very expensive though. So the ROAS is just not that good in my opinion, but they're a great agency. But there's a lot of really shitty cold call agencies out there that I would be careful with. Okay. But what I was going to say is one thing that you can do is you can do your own cold calling. Okay. So if you've got like a really niche list, pick up the phone, call them, right? These are high value deals. Pick up the phone and call them yourself. Don't experiment it with them. Okay. Mike, we'll bring you on and then everyone here. Actually, I'm going to answer one question and then Victor, I'll hit yours after. Winner one says, do capital partners in Leah Group always provide capital for good deals? Yeah, 100%. But it has to be a good deal, right? What is a good deal? A good deal is a double your money. Buy for 50,000, sell for 100,000. Buy for 10, sell for 20. That's the math that we're pretty much always going for. That's what JV funders want to see. There's so much capital inside of Leah, but no one's going to fund a bad deal. And that's actually in your best interest too. Like stay away from those. As you get better and you have debt, you can take on less quality deals if you want, but never in the beginning. Do not touch debt in the beginning. Only JV funding. Keep yourself safe. Look for those double your money deals. If those deals aren't a double your money, we're going to double close them or use innovation. So you don't even have to bring in outside capital. Mike, what's up, bro?
What's up, buddy? I didn't even know this was going on. I jumped in Discord. I'm like, why not? Are you recording this on YouTube?
Yeah. This will be live after, or this will be published after.
So this is going to be published. Okay, so this will be live on YouTube. Okay. I got to ask my own specific reasons.
Mike, is that actually your background or is that
dude, my office is a disaster right now. I wish this
was what I said. It looks so nice.
Yeah, this is possibly coming up, man. I'm going to start looking at, my wife and I are looking to purchase a second home possibly, and we're going to go look at Texas. Well, I'm going to go look at Texas because of our situation with our kid. Texas, North Carolina, or Florida. It's going to be one of those three states to possibly snowbird it back and forth. Because as I sit here in New York, my son is in the other room sick as a dog because we live in we're in 16-degree weather tonight.
Dude, look at you, man. That's cool to even have the ability to do that for your family.
Awesome. Well, I'll be honest with you, a lot of it is from my first 8 months in land. As you know, I think I talked about some of the numbers the other day on one of our coaching calls. So it's opening up a lot of opportunities, and I think I just started to scratch the surface. So 100%. What is this, dude? Just remind me because I feel like a fish out of water right now. What is this call entailing right now? What are we doing on this? Because I didn't even I clicked it. That's it.
Yeah, I'll touch on that. And one thing I want to say for context for you guys that don't know Mike's 8 months into land. He's a killer. I'm sure we'll ask some cool questions that'll probably show you that he's pretty freaking confident and a great guy to learn from in terms of the acquisition process. The guy's a dog on the phone. Your numbers are insane. 8 months inside of Leah, this guy's a killer. One thing that I will say too, North Carolina is beautiful. But dude, as you start making more money in this business, if you can spend 6 months in Florida or Texas and not pay state income tax, you'll be so happy you did. And you get the snowbird.
That is the thought process. Absolutely.
That's a big deal. So what's this call for? Dude, imagine, I've actually never listened to Dave Ramsey before, but I know the premise. So think about Dave Ramsey. People call in and say, Dave, I've got these financial problems. Can you help me? That's kind of the idea of what we're doing here. So like 5 minutes, whatever's going on in your business. What do you want to touch on? Kind of a Q&A session, one-on-one.
Yeah. So all's been well. 8 months in. I have to look at my whiteboard right next to me all the time. I should know it by now. I don't have the most amount of deals, but I think I have quality deals. I think that's why my numbers are I'm going to put my official numbers out in March. March will make 1 year. I'm waiting an entire year to go into the recent wins and put up my recent wins from my fiscal year started in March. So I started mailing in March. I wanted to average 10,000 mailers a month. I'm actually averaging about 8,100 a month. I have 9 total deals, 10, 11, 12, and 15 tracts of land. Now, these are deals that are official, and I have 2 others. They're double closes. It's just the way I operate. I don't really consider double closes pipeline profit because until it crosses the finish line, we don't technically own it, if that makes sense. The ones that we own on the dispo end, those are deals that are obviously going to close at some point. What I wanted to discuss now that I'm on here is to date, I've done 65,000 mailers. So I missed 1 month of mailing, which had to do with some legal stuff I had going on with some personal stuff, family-wise. So I couldn't mail out in September. So I did the quick math, and I said 8,100 mailers. So out of those 65,000 mailers, if I were to look into Mayor's program that you're running with him, would it make sense to email all 65,000 leads that I direct mailed, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So let's touch on that. 65,000 is it's a lot, but it's also not that much as it relates to email. So the thing that I would think about is if you're growing your marketing next year, which you probably are, then yes. If you plan to stay at a similar pace, I would say wait till you aggregate more data. The reason I say that is because, all right, we're going to go and skip trace your data. We can do it for you, or you can use one of the things that we recommend. You probably get 65, 75% of those that have emails. Okay, so not all those data points have emails. Then we run those emails through a scrubbing process to test the validity of those emails. And now when you skip trace them correctly, you're going to get multiple emails. But your hit rate on that is rough numbers, might be 50%, could be 40, 30%, depends on the market. So you end up with a much smaller data set of actually high quality stuff that we want to mail for you, like email. And then from there, you might be getting one deal per 20,000 emails. So quickly you're out of data. So I know you don't want that subscription occurring in the background. So if you say, Sumner, I'm going to be doing 20, 30,000 mailers a month, then yeah, we could just translate all those in plus the backlog and just have that steady stream in the background. Otherwise, I would wait till you have a bigger.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is if you have to give a number, what would you want to see in there, like 300,000?
It depends on the plan that you're on. So we do a 5,000 a month plan. We do a 10,000, that's for quantity of emails, 10,000, then a 20,000 a month. Now to see like consistent, hey, I'm doing 6 to 12 deals a year, you probably get it on the 20,000 a month plan. The lower ones, it'll just be a handful of deals per year. So a backlog over 100,000 data points is a great starting point for us. The real question though is how much data are you pulling in the meantime, right? Because what's going to happen is we're going to have that backlog that might last us a quarter that we can work off of. And then we want to start taking that data that you were mailing 3 months ago. We don't want to hit them at the same time. So we want like this catch-up effect where we're always 3 months behind you grabbing that data roughly.
Gotcha.
So it depends on the quantity of mail that you're going to be sending next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes
Now,
sense.
what I would recommend to you, Mike, like in full candor, it depends on the business you want to run. Right? If you are going out for just optimal, you say, Sumner, I want optimal, I would add texting first. Again, it's a great icing on the cake channel. Now, if you say, Sumner, I don't want a big flute and team, which you need for texting, then yeah, cold calling, cold email, something like that's what I'd add on. The thing about cold email is it's way cheaper than cold call. You get less leads, so your cost per lead is higher, but your cost per deal should be lower.
With the cold emails, what is the verbiage? What does it consist of? Like, hey, I mailed you in December of whatever 2024, and I'm reaching out. Like how does that work? Who comes up with the scripts?
Yeah, we write all the scripts for you. So we write all the copy. We make sure that not all our users are using the same copy, right? So that we iterate it so it's slightly different. We have a bit of a winning formula to think of like what works well, both for the initial email copy, the subject line, and then what we start saying after. Because once the reply comes in, we're going to do a bit of warming up to kind of riff with them, pre-qualify them, and then the land investor will jump in and either get them on a call or some people just want to be closed through email. The actual verbiage in terms of calling out a letter, yeah, we'll reference that we mailed to them. If all that data is priced, we're going to tie in probably a range offer. We're not going to give them a blind offer. We can help kind of create a range offer. You can do a blind offer too. Or if you're like me, I just go neutral on those and then I give them a range offer once they respond. So yeah, general premise is short and sweet. You need a really good hook. So people usually just read like that first sentence or two, which if they're using Gmail, they'll see it. So something to kind of capture their interest, really good subject line. Usually what we want to do is lead off with a question. You want to engage someone to say, should I respond to this? So we'll probably tie in the fact that we already reached out to them, potentially slightly later in the copy. But yeah, we test it too. So it's not like everyone comes in and that formula is set in stone. We do have to iterate to get it right. When we usually, I'd say 9 times out of 10 is pretty much perfect out of the gate, but it takes some iterating.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to definitely scale up come probably around February to as much as I wanted to get 10,000 out the door, it only ended up being 81. But I have a VA that I hire now, so that's taking a lot off of my plate. Which ironically, I'm sending out 5,900 next Monday, and it's 34 counties, all zips. So I don't know if there's such thing as over diversifying. What do you think, Rylan? Too much diversifying there?
It's never too much.
I was
Okay.
gonna say,
That's my man. That's my man. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear because I'm like one of my counties is like 84, and I'm like 84 people, and I'm like, you know what? It's a little subdivision, and you know what? Maybe I'll strike gold on it. Who knows?
dude. Well, speaking of that, literally Corbin, you saw this. He just got a deal from 83 Records, so never shy away from small campaigns.
Right.
There was one subdivision in Idaho that I worked. The land was like useless. I don't think it's buildable. And I just had this whole list of buyers out there, and my marketing list was like 45 people, and I bought 10 of those properties out of those 45 people.
Sweet.
Just kept nailing them over and over again.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. So I want to scale up to probably, I know it's not going to sound like a lot to you guys, but for me, it will be. I'll probably scale up to about 12 or 15,000 in the new year, even though I was averaging 8,100. It was supposed to be 10, just didn't work out that way. So I'm starting off good in December. I'm going full force. I know you're not I have two people who are on the opposite sides of the fence with this. I got about 9,500 going out this month. So Ryland, you'll be proud of me, dude. 9,500 going out for Christmas. So hopefully they don't end up in the snow somewhere.
Yeah, we got the devil and the angel on your shoulder. Ryan definitely like to push it. I'm always risk averse for the members, but when they use that kind of thing, it might work out.
Right. So I'm gonna shoot for about 12 to 15,000 going into the new year. The VA is doing really well. He's scrubbing at a really nice pace. So he's got it all down packed now, which is nice. So I think it would be that and possibly emails. But now that you're telling me, maybe emails sounds to me from my interpretation is that maybe I'm a year out from emails with that amount of mail.
Yeah. If you're I mean, again, you could make it work on a smaller plan, but if we're looking at what's Mike's next step for adding a marketing channel, I would say texting before email or any of the other ones. Yeah.
Okay. And texting, most people are using who? Launch Control?
Launch Control. I'll actually share that link for folks that are here on the chat. Launch Control is the winner chicken dinner. There's another one called Smarter Contact. It's just not as good. I mean, Launch Control is just better. They have such good guardrails to keep you safe. So I'm a Launch Control guy through and through.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I jumped on blindly on the call tonight. I'm kind of rolling. I'm taking it. What I took away from the mastermind, just so you guys know, is I don't compare my business to anyone else's business. Period. I don't compare it to Ryland's because that wouldn't be realistic. I don't compare it to someone who's been in it for 2 months or someone who's been in it for 10 years. I think that's kind of kept me grounded, level. Do I have my moments where I get a little frustrated? Absolutely. I have a DC today that had me frustrated, but then I ironed it out and I made it work. Can I tell you about the Texas stuff? So Texas, I didn't know this. You have to have a survey in Texas if it's being on the B2C side from a lender, right? But ironically, my buyer supposedly has some in, and the bank waived it with the underwriting, so we don't need a survey. So I'll be able to close on this DC on the 20th of this month. So I was trying to avoid another 3-week or 4-week delay to have this thing surveyed. And then the mineral rights. I learned a little bit about mineral rights and how the verbiage using SEB, et cetera, and putting that in the contract or an addendum in the contract. So, a couple little things to maneuver and kind of zigzag with, but it went through and it all should go well.
That's awesome.
It'll be my second largest net profit of all the deals I've done so far.
That's a big one. 70K or something?
No, the first one was. This one will be about 52.
Nice.
Nothing to sneeze at. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Mike, I've got one thing. Are you open to input as something to work on next year?
110%, dude.
Okay. Dude, I think that, and Riley can probably attest to this. And it's on some level, and I used to be exactly how you are too. And I would rather err on this side than not. And that's like when problems arise, they're the biggest fucking problem ever. I need to get it solved right the fuck now. Otherwise, my world is going to end kind of feeling. That's how I used to feel about everything. And the good news is you get it solved, right? And they usually get it solved quickly. But what I started to realize is like, I was wearing myself out mentally so hardcore. Like I would just beat myself up and I would lose sleep over the stuff and I'd freak out. And as my business started to grow, the quantity of problems just were more frequent and they got bigger. And so I don't know exactly what the shift was, but somewhere in my psychology, I just like every problem that was arising in my business, I always have faith that it will get solved. Don't let it keep me up at night. Just to keep this equanimity, because you start to build up a data set that tells you, look at the problems that you've encountered and you've always figured them out. And that will always be the case. And Rylan, how many problems do you deal with on a weekly basis?
If I solved all my problems like straight, it would take me like a year. Like it would take me a year to solve all my problems. They're all just getting work done. So you just have to live with the fact that there's always a problem. You write them down, you chip away at them. They're not all going to get solved, but you're running a business. Every business has problems.
Right.
And if you let them, they will become these demons that just eat at your energy, which again, I've been saying that a lot this call. Like that is the biggest finite resource we have in this business. I need a high quantity of energy. I need high quality energy. And those things are little parasites that weigh on me. So that double close in Texas, did that bother you a little bit?
Full transparency, last week's call when I was telling you how paranoid I was about with it, that certain things were going on. Yes. But this week, no, because I took a step back and I'm like, I put that whole mentality in my head that, hey, 90% of the things we worry about never really come to fruition. Okay. So I have to remember that. And that's where my age comes in. I'm not old by any means, but I just turned 47. So I remember in my 20s, I used to worry about every single little thing. And I'm reverting back to how I was in my 20s. And I'm like, dude, just take a step back and let it play out. Like today, it was a little stressful, but I didn't let it eat away at me. I handled it, done with it, and I moved on with my day. And that's it.
Yeah. Good. I think you've already made strides there. I remember, we hit a few snags in the road with deals or whatever. And I like people that take it seriously because they get it done. But I know that feeling of you wearing yourself out. Because, yes, when you look at them in the eyes, especially in the beginning, it feels like, is this going to end me, or is this going to am I going to lose this deal or whatever?
Right.
A constant that I can guarantee is if you want to grow a big business, expect big problems in a high frequency. But it's a beautiful thing because you start to just develop like this, in a good way, this callous skin where like nothing ruffles my feathers. And I see it with my family. I see it with my friends. I even see it with Sarah. We're like, she'll deal with a problem, and I'm just like, you can't shake me. I got like poker face on 24/7 because you just get so good at dealing with problems. And it's like, I think too much. What?
Sometimes a little too much.
Yeah. Well, dude, I think that really, as I've been thinking recently, if I want to get to the next level, if I want to build an 8-figure business or even beyond, the bottleneck is my central nervous system. That sounds weird, but can I handle more pressure and more stress without cracking? And it's like someone like Elon Musk, like that dude's central nervous, I don't know, he's built of steel. Somehow that guy can deal with so many problems. And that's kind of the defining difference between how far you're going to go at a certain point, in my opinion. So it's a big thing to undertake. But
I agree with that analogy 100%. The central nervous system, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've dealt with some personal stuff, as you know, behind the scenes that I'm not going to talk about on YouTube with health stuff with my child. So yeah, you got to be able to take the pressure. That's why, believe it or not, as crazy as it sounds, that's molded me into being able to handle this business. And that's molded me into being able to handle, like, I have some hairy deals, dude. Like I have title issues going on with a couple of properties. I'm not stressing. I'm just day by day going through them, checking with the companies, checking with what's going on. And just, that's it. Just kind of, and that's when eventually, my thing is I have to eventually, I'm a control freak. Open about it. I need to be able to delegate eventually down the road. So 2025 is going to be about me building possibly a team at some point and being able to delegate and get some people on board. You actually stressed on it and you talked about it. It's very interesting. You talked about on one of our coaching calls, if there's one thing you were going to do different is having a team closer to you. And I think you meant, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you meant closer proximity, like literally like where you live, right? And for me, I think that's tremendous. The thing is, it's hard to get, if you want to get an AM, right? You got to, I'm going to pay big bucks to get an AM in New York, right? But it would be tremendous because I can mold them and train them and teach them and then delegate to them what I want and kind of put them in in the same position I am from an AM standpoint, me as the acquisitions manager now, and have them do what I'm doing, maybe at 80% of my capacity, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Or hell, maybe even more. Who knows? There's shining stars out there. Yeah, dude. I would cement that fact in that if I could start over, I would do it local. Now, there's some roles. Generalist VA, I'm never going to hire local. I mean, there's some stuff like technical, but the acquisition for sure. And it actually doesn't have to be as expensive as you might think if you've got a business that's providing steady lead flow. And if this person says, in this role, I'm going to get more from it than just a paycheck. Like if they feel like I'm about to learn something that will pay dividends, I'm going to become a certain kind of person in this process, you can find what I'd say bargain deals because they're getting more than just a paycheck. So, I'd expect it depends on your lead flow. I'd expect it to kind of float a $30,000 to $40,000 salary and then commission on top of that. And if you've got good lead flow, people will be jumping all over that because on track, they can make six figures with a really cool lifestyle and be getting more than a paycheck.
Right. You're talking about a base salary for a USAM at 30 to 40 and a commission on top of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And it's like just one deal they save that pays for that difference between somebody that's cheap and somebody that's high quality. Like I've just focused on high quality in my business, and your business does much better when you have an absolute killer and you pay them a little more than what you'd be paying somebody in Mexico or something. So.
Right. I have no issue with, other nations, my thing is, and we've talked about this, is shooting the shit and the lingo with whether it be baseball, football, unions, jobs. I think that's really hard to do. And again, I don't know. I mean, Rylan, you're doing, high volume. I guess when you're doing lower volume, the rapport building is a lot. I don't know. You correct me if I'm wrong. I think the rapport building is a lot more crucial for someone like me than it is for your team. Am I correct with that or no?
I mean, we still build really good rapport. Rapport is sales. So, I mean, we've scaled up significantly, but that doesn't mean we slow down with rapport. So, like, you definitely need to enforce that on your team, and you need to have people that are building rapport. I'm not saying I sacrificed that. I'm just saying, like, I built a good system around it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you can give that up. You just need more people and good people. But we can never give up the, especially as you start getting into bigger deals.
Yeah. Hey, switching subjects, something popped into my head about when you guys did the live for the Land Insights. My screen name on YouTube is Maverick. I don't know if you know it was me.
Yeah.
I was asking if you could possibly, and you said it was a good idea, maybe in Discord, can we have a like local chapter section where like New York, California, for meetups for Leah members, which I think would be pretty cool. Because like Dennis me, and a bunch of other guys are going to meet up in about 2 weeks in New Jersey, have a nice dinner, talk shop, and just shoot the shit about land. And I think it would be great to put that out there. This way, guys could connect. And then it also will allow, I mean, look at my story. I came into this not knowing any of you guys, and I met Dennis and Jerry out in New Jersey, not knowing a thing about Leah, and they're the big reason why I joined. So think about how many people would come and meet us, hear it straight from the horse's mouth, figuratively, and say, hey, this sounds like a rock star plan.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually put that on Juan's plate after we spoke about it last. So it's on his plate to set that up this month. So, and actually on that note, anyone that's in California, we've got a Leah meetup, a satellite meetup in San Diego. You guys are in Discord, you can look out for that. And if you need help, I'll point you in the right direction. But yeah, what's funny is even before you mentioned that, Mike, one of the things that the team and I were talking about after the event was setting up recurring satellite meetups. So it's like once a quarter in these 3 or 4 locations, we book a spot at a bar or a restaurant, get some space, and everyone just knows there's a recurring meetup there. And I think it's a massive win for the members. It's a win because it does bring new eyeballs in. But I want to be able to help facilitate that. So no, I'm on board 100%.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think that, building that, we talk a lot of Leah members behind the scenes, we get on Zoom calls, etc. And, we actually boost and help each other. And we the morale, if someone's morale is down or whatever the case may be, at least that's how I roll. I think you guys kind of realize that. As high strung as I could be, type A, I like to try to help as many people out as possible. And I think, paying it forward is huge. So I think it's be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I agree, man. You've done a good job with the networking too, and it's there for. I mean, most people do a good job. I would say it's a very collaborative community, but it does require being proactive, private DMing people, extending a lending hand when someone needs help. Like that stuff goes a long way. And I think like a lot of reasons this community is awesome, but maybe the number one is frankly just the community. Like the people are just salt of the earth, all the freaking people that want to see everyone win, and that's rare. It's really
Right,
rare.
but it's how you guys structured it. It's how you structured Leah, and I mean that is because you know you can get into any other land. Excuse me, you get into any other land BS program, and I've seen them, and I did research them before joining Leah, and you're not going to get the camaraderie. You're not going to get. You just, it's different. It really is. And I'm not just, by the way, nobody's paid me to say this because I know I'm like shooting a sales pitch here, but I mean it. Listen, it's transformed my life in a short 10 months. It's changed. It's made me friendships that I know are going to be indefinite friendships for a long time, God willing, as long as I'm here. Right. And, you know, and we're making money and we're doing, I mean, where else are you going to sit in the comfort of your chair? Right. And pull deals and make money in the land business and put some elbow grease in, but you're not answering to anyone for the most part, right? You don't have a boss on your shoulder telling you, you know, what to do and when to do it and how to do it. And you kind of you're setting your own destiny, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. No, you got the keys to your destiny. It's a beautiful thing, man. I wish this life for everyone. And for those that want it, I sincerely want this for everyone because to control your destiny is a beautiful thing. Or maybe this was your destiny all along. Who knows? But to have this level of freedom is beautiful. Really cool.
That's a talk for another day off of YouTube because what you just said, actually, well, what you said is actually the truth.
Yeah.
If COVID didn't happen, if my son didn't, certain things, if things didn't happen, I wouldn't have aligned here. And I'm a big believer in that. And I'm taking it. It's cool. I'm rolling with it and I'm playing the cards I'm dealt, dude. That's it.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job, Mike. I'm
Thanks,
proud of you, man. You're a rising star.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
All
Thanks
right, brother. Anything else I can help with?
Nah, man. I think we're good, dude. Thank you for that. Rylan, thank you.
All right, man. I'll see you on Monday, okay?
You got it. Peace.
Hey, Mike.
Have a good one. Bye. All right. So Ryland's just starting his business, brand new. How can I help? No, what's going on, man? Good to see you on here.
I'm running out of money, Sumner.
Yeah, you just bought almost a $2 million house, so that put you in the hole a little bit. Huh? Did you get are you closing on it, or you got approved for the lending? Where are you at in the process?
We're negotiating the offer. I put in the offer yesterday. They countered back.
Okay.
So it's just back and forth, and now we're negotiating furniture. So there's this knight in the house, like a full suit of armor.
Yeah,
it's like human size, and I'm trying to get it. So
that's it.
We're negotiating that, and then the furniture in the house.
Is it fully furnished?
Well, I'm trying. It's furnished right now. I'm trying to get all the furniture because I don't want to have to deal with it.
Yeah, dude. So we just moved into our house. Yeah, literally yesterday, and it's like semi-furnished, but it's like I don't want it. That's not the furnishing that I want. And oh my god, dude, furnishing a house such a pain in the ass. And I'm doing landscaping and like. If you can get a house, especially if it's nicely furnished, that's such a win. And a lot of the houses we looked at here were, but this one wasn't. How much did you knock off the list price? We don't have to say the list price, but how much did you knock off of it for your offer?
So it was listed at 1.7. I offered 1.5. They countered at 1.65, so not too much.
Yeah.
But I mean, the house is listed below market value already, so we were just trying to get something extra. And we wanted to close before the end of the year, but they can't do it. They have to close like end of January.
Yeah, probably not possible with this timeline. For you guys that don't know, you might be wondering why is Rylan buying a house. This is actually really cool. So he's buying a nice house. He's moving from Florida to Arizona to be closer to Kyle, who's one of the co-founders behind Land Insight. So it's me, Ryan, and Kyle. And there's a few other land investors and Leah members out there. But Rylan's launching like a land house. I don't know if you guys remember like not TikTok, or maybe it was TikTok, but there was one before that they were doing the clout houses and stuff, like the influencers. So imagine that for land. So like 6-8 people in a house, all grinding on land, typically young, like under 35, 30. And everyone's just grinding, just like a house to level the fuck up. I think it's like majority Leah members, it's like folks that we already know, like know, like, trust. It's like a really, I see Pete just hopped on. It's a really good group of people. And the irony is, dude, I think it's going to also level you up. Like, I know you're doing it, because it makes sense to have such a big house and to have people living there with you. And it's a cool thing to give back to the community. But I think you're going to level up in that process too. I really do. I think it holds you to a higher standard because now you're the coach. Like you come home and it's like osmosis. You know, you come home and 6 people are working. You're not going to not work too. I'm afraid you're not going to sleep. There's probably a good chance your sleep goes from 4 hours a night to fucking 2 hours a night or something. But I think it's going to level you up. And for anyone that's in Scottsdale, Phoenix area, shout us out inside Discord. We're going to be doing like little quasi meetups. We're opening up a Land Insights office there too. So maybe we'll host people to the office. And I'm coming out there at some point in June for the Supercars and Land event. So I definitely want to do a meetup there for sure. But it's sick what you're doing. I think what we have to do though, through Land Insights, we need to pay for a videographer to come bi-weekly and just document. We should make it a reality show.
We're trying to get an ASU videographer to live at the house for free, and like he just has to pay in return by filming content. So that's one thing Coach is about.
Bro, that's gonna crush. Everyone's mic'd up. Oh, it's so good.
I think it's called leaping up with the Land Bros.
And we're gonna do a weekly podcast in the house, in person only. No like Zoom stuff. It's all in person, and people can call in kind of like this, but it's podcast format. It's filmed, but nobody can it's only callers in. There's no, unless it's a guest speaker. So like good production, high value.
Bro, you've got to start off with Mike Arce coming in. RC or Arce. That's probably RC. You got to get him on. He's in Phoenix or Scottsdale.
Yeah, I've got a Rolodex of people I'm gonna hit up. Like my network is so expansive in Scottsdale. Like all of the best real estate investors, all the most wealthy people I know personally, they're all out there. So like we'll get interesting people on there. It's exciting.
Yeah, for you guys that don't know, for whatever reason, Phoenix, Scottsdale is the mecca of real estate. I'm not joking. Like it's a spiritual center for real estate. It's like the weirdest thing. Everyone's congregated there. It's like the place to be. Like if you want to become a movie star, go to Hollywood. You want to become a real estate investor, go to Phoenix, Scottsdale. And so, yeah, huge lineup. Dude, we should do kind of like the real estate disruptors model, where it's just like anyone that ever flies into Scottsdale, if you're in real estate, you have to go get on his show. Same thing. Just like everyone knows they got to stop by the Land House. And then they first have to get a live in-person demo of Land Insights. Pete will be on site. Okay. Take payment right from there. You can pay in cash if you want to under the table. And you got to get the podcast. Bitcoin. Dude. My Bitcoin bag is looking quite nice right now.
Nice.
Quite nice. Let me show you guys a chart. This is so bonkers. I actually might be the greatest investor of all time. Check this out. So share my screen, and then we'll look at a deal here in a second too if you guys want. And look at guys, if you're on this call and you haven't given it a thumbs up, for the love of God, give it a thumbs up. Also, a lot of folks have been asking about this. I put this in the chat. It's our 90 Days Zero to Hero program, documented taking a brand new land investor from they started with $10,000 and grew that to $240K in 90 days, documented the whole process. Here's the program. Go check it out. Anyways, let's go check out Bitcoin. Just hit 100K.
Nice.
And so your boy, I'm not even exaggerating. You see this dip right in here back in 2022? Yeah, that was your boy. Picked it up. I caught the bottom on that. I mean, I picked up a few trades here and there, but like all in here, and I've just been sitting on this puppy. And then same thing.
Nice.
Ethereum. I just got lucky. It just hit 4K. But like, yeah, dude, literally I picked it up at like $1,000 even right here.
Wow.
And there's a lesson in here. Okay. This is the lesson. The train always comes back around in life. Okay. You don't just get one shot. You might get a few shots. I'm not saying you get infinite shots, but don't panic. Like for everything, you miss a deal in your land business, that train will come back around, whether it's that deal or another deal. Never get emotional and put yourself in a stupid position. The problem with most investing just in general is like, Oh no, it's running. I'm gonna buy it right here. It's like, no, you dummy. You buy it down in here. One thing I think is interesting though, I think the arbitrage is kind of gone. I should have texted this to you, Rylan. I was texting Tony about it, but right in here. So I saw this like a couple weeks ago. So Bitcoin had hit all-time highs, but Ethereum were still sitting at like $3,000. And so there was like an easy 30% arb just because Bitcoin had already hit all-time highs and Ethereum is like the lagging, the second biggest coin outside of Bitcoin. So it's just always kind of lagging behind it. And someone could have picked up an easy 30%.
Nice.
So anyways, and then send me your crypto bags. If you guys got some recommendations for some crazy altcoins, send it my way. I've got some money to play with. All right, what do you guys want to talk about?
Let's take a look at a
You guys
deal.
come on here with no topics. Come on, what you guys got for me? And I'll put it here too. Let me put it in the chat for everyone. Okay, I'll share my screen. We can look at a deal. I'm gonna put this in the chat real quick. So Pete is the gatekeeper for Land Insights. So we actually just released a data platform about 2 weeks ago. It's gone insane. So if you guys want to check that out, get a full demo on it, over to landinsights.co/data. And what we're actually building out, and we'll put this in place right now if you guys book. But one of the things that we're kind of changing the format that we're doing for these calls. So on these calls, we'll demo the full power of Land Insights, how you can 2x your ROAS, buy back 20 hours a week, get the access to the best data, how to run DD on your properties, how to find realtors, use our AI scrubbing, list your photos, like all of it. But one of the things that we're doing is we're changing these demo calls into what we're calling like a live market selection call. So if you come and schedule a call with Pete, we're going to show you the platform via selecting a market with you in real time. We'll export that data, we'll scrub that data, and then we're literally going to give that data to you after the call. So you'll see the tool in real time. We'll pick you a market and we'll give you that data scrubbed, ready to go. So if you're brand new, free data, free scrub, high quality data in a killer market. And even if you're seasoned, who doesn't want good data in a good market that's scrubbed? Go to landinsights.co/data, come check it out. You guys can just schedule a demo call with Pete here and get some free data and see the platform in real time. It's pretty gangster. Anything you want to say to that, Pete?
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I think it's a really good addition to the way we're doing it now. I mean, the way we're doing it now is great, but I think walking away with, 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 leads, whatever it ends up being, that are fully scrubbed, ready to go. Even the seasoned guys, like it's a good A/B test, like, compared to other markets. And
yeah, dude, the proof's in the pudding. You think you're good at picking markets? All right, put it to the test. We'll show you. We'll give you unequivocal evidence that this is better than what you're doing currently. And so I actually don't think I've talked about this yet, but we're changing kind of the, I guess, org chart for Land Insights. And right now, the way it works is me, Rylan, and Kyle. We're all like the co-founders, and we all kind of manage as if it was like an even distribution, which as the business grows has just become confusing. I'm sure Pete can attest to that. And so it's just like too many cooks in the kitchen. The irony, when there's too many cooks in the kitchen, things actually get missed because of it. And so it's like actually like not beneficial to anyone. So we're setting up like a true CEO position, and Rylan and I are going to be kind of alternating. So we're going to be working at quarterly increments. It's very untraditional. I've never seen a business do this, but we're going to be kind of ping-ponging one quarter, bouncing from CEO to CEO. So starting this month, I'm stepping in as like the interim CEO for the next quarter, and then Rylan will step in. We'll kind of keep on rotating. And I'm really excited about that because there's a laundry list of really cool things that we're working on that blow the mind of our users, from literally the first time you ever interact with the team to when you're actually inside of the platform. Like it's unbelievable what we're working on. And I don't say that lightly. But one of the problem is like having so many cooks in the kitchen. Some of the values as a business haven't been defined yet. Our culture is yet to be defined. So I'm excited to come in and start to kind of carry over the stuff that we do in our other businesses. So one of the rules that I have in our other businesses is in every engagement, no matter who you're talking to, it could be in our land business, could be in Leah, could be at land emails, it's the max utility per interaction, okay? You ever interact with anyone, I don't care if it's a chat message, I don't care if they're on a call with Pete, it's always the max utility. How can we deliver the max utility? So one of the first examples of that is, you want to get on a demo call? Well, I want the max utility, so when you leave, you got something for the time. time, even if you don't sign up for Land Insights. And so it's a small little point, but this whole ethos is being eventually adopted to kind of every piece of the business. And so there's a lot of really cool things I'm excited to kind of port over how we do things in other businesses.
And it's kind of crazy that it's already like improved in 2 weeks. Like they dropped Kyle and team dropped a ton of stuff today that is changing the game even more. Yeah.
So yeah, we ship updates pretty much every week at this point. I'll put this inside the chat if you guys want to watch it. So we've got a private community for Land Insights users. We just shared this in here. So we're shipping new updates to hit the platform on Monday. If you guys want to watch this Loom video, you can see all the updates. But yeah, just a crazy huge laundry list of stuff that we shipped this week. All right, and we've got a ridiculous development roadmap. All right, you guys want me to look at a deal, or do you guys want anything? Do you have anything else to chime in on?
Let's look at a deal.
Right,
sorry, I was muted.
What are you guys most excited about for Land Insights? I'm just curious. One thing could be like a feature, or just in general for where the business is going.
It's the time that it takes from market research to getting a campaign out is ridiculous now. Pete and I met earlier today. It can be done in like 15 minutes now. Like a 2,000, 5,000 record mailer can be done in like 15 minutes at this point.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
That used to take me like, I'm actually not exaggerating. That would take me 2 to 4 days previously. When I first got started, 5,000 mailers was like a week-long project almost. And now you could do that in less than an hour, which is just bananas.
When I started, my first few markets were about 10 hours of research, right, to find the market, and then another few hours to price it, which, I mean, you still have to price it a little bit. So that might take a little bit of time. But finding the markets is now from 10 hours. I'm usually in there about half hour a week now. It's crazy.
But here's the thing, right? And this is where it gets crazy. So let's say I wanted to go hit Forbes Park, which is a subdivision. Because I can instantly have all my comps overlaid on my data set, even the pricing is quick, especially once you start getting into tighter pockets like zip codes and subdivisions. Yeah. The speed to price this stuff out is just bonkers, man. Now, every mailer has its own level of complexity for pricing. Like no mailer is created the same, no pricing is created the same. But yeah, it's just crazy how quick this is.
Pete, this is slightly insane, but one of my favorite features is just the things that put everything in one browser. So just the Google Map link, and then the link right to Zillow. I mean, there's simple things that no one ever thought of. Like, even just the Zillow link. Like before, I used to have to go find a neighboring address and land ID because no properties have addresses or very few. So you got to find a house and then put that address, copy it, put it in, like
I'm like scrolling on the map. I'm like, is that the property? I don't know. It looks similar. Like,
or you're doing the map compare thing. Like, oh, there's a mountain range. Yeah, it's southwest about 5-10 miles.
Yeah, dude. That was always my style. I would take like a geographical element. I try to match it up, but not all the maps read the same. Like a land ID map doesn't read the same as a data tree map. So like they're slightly disorientating.
Yeah, this one says Highway 24. This one says, Imperial Highway or whatever.
Yeah,
is that the same road?
Yeah, I would actually second what Pete said. And this isn't like a future thing. It already exists. But I think the thing that I actually love the most, and I would second this for my team, is just the fact that everything's under one umbrella. So we pull our markets here. We export our data here. We do our due diligence here. We scrub our data here. We skip trace our data here. We comp our deals here too with the comping tool. It's coming out Q1, and we edit our photos here. So it's like we never have to leave the tool. Oh, and we find our realtors. Where before it's like my team is jumping from 12 different tools to do this, and you can track all your campaigns in here and actually manage this with our Kanban board to track everything that you're working on. It's just I love that. I just love just how clean that is. So that exists currently. The thing that I'm most excited for beyond that, well, I'm very excited to release the comping tool publicly. Now, I already have access to that, so it's not really new to me per se. There's some really cool value-add elements that I think are going to be a game changer for anyone doing value-add deals. There's some improvements that I don't even have access to, which I'm very excited for about that. Dude, I would honestly say like just some of the hyper niche scrubs it's like not that crazy because to me it's so obvious. But being able to like scrub subdivide properties or what have you, that's just so powerful. Like I'm just super pumped for that. I don't have access to that right now, and I've wanted that for years. So I think that's probably got to take the cake for me, as well as
It
maybe
literally
some, like,
took me about an hour. I timed it because I was curious, and I did a 15-minute Loom video. I trained, to show my VA the comp tool, the manual comp tool. I like doing it manually because I want to tag the subdivides and stuff. And so that gave her the just basic training of the platform. And then I did a 30-ish minute, went up to about 45 minutes call. I showed her like, okay, I did 20 or 30 scrubs. Here's why I'm doing it. Here's what I want to keep. Here's what I don't want to keep. Here's why. And then I had her do 30 or 40 comps and talk me through it. Like, why are you marking this as a subdivide versus not? Why are you changing slope? And like an hour later, she was like 95% accurate on her first list and doing about 400 or 500 records an hour. And by the second list, she was up close to 1,000 records an hour and like 99% accurate. It was crazy.
Wow, that's sick. That's super
and I
sick.
did the quick math at $4.50 an hour. It's half a penny or something to do all that extra manual, like super hyper focus scrubbing.
Yeah, and it pays dividends. Dude, here's what I was going to say. You guys were not on the call yet. I'm curious you guys to get your guys' thoughts, but I'm making a big, bold prediction. I think in the next 2 years, we're going to see one of two things. Either the first ever 7-figure one-person land business through Land Insights, or a one person, one VA 7-figure business through Land Insights. What do you guys think?
I agree.
It's doable.
Everything's scalable at this point, and you can get so fucking efficient. It's crazy.
Like, that's unheard of. That's crazy. The business is changing in a really cool way. I'm so excited for that. It won't be me, but it probably might be someone watching this call. Who knows? Let's take a look at this deal. I'm not going to show the APN because it's a bigger deal. So contract was supposed to be signed today. We haven't gotten it yet. You guys can see my screen, yeah? Supposed to come in today. Let me actually, I'm going to exit out real quick. Let's see what the price was on this. So I believe that this is so 162K, double close, controlling it with $500 of earnest. They're currently using it to harvest hay, which is funny. And it's 33 acres. But I'm curious, what do you guys think about this deal? What would you do with this? Here. So here it is. It butts up to this nice subdivision here. What's your play?
Golf course.
That's the only road access right there.
Yeah, this little chunk here is not great.
There's not a lot you can do with it based on those. It looks like is that drainage?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. It doesn't show wetlands when I looked at it previously. I don't know what that is, but yes.
Is that a solar panel?
Yeah. So I think they've got, I don't know. I think, well, that might be wetlands. But speaking of solar, there is like a solar lease offer that they have that they're not going to take, but someone is trying to buy it for solar. So there's also that.
Those are always bullshit offers.
They are. They always got the worst terms. They're not very profitable either. What they pay you is kind of garbage.
No, they pay you a lot, but they get your hopes up. So these solar people, they target you like land investors, but these contracts, they never go through. I don't know what their conversion rate is, but they kind of ruin it for land investors in a way that like somebody's like all over it. They're like, oh, I'm going to make this amount of money. So now I want way more if you want to buy it. Because this is how much they said I'm going to make, but you're really not going to get that. They're just getting your hopes up.
Dude, I've never had like a concrete offer. I've had these people call me or mail me with like never very specific. It's like, oh, we might be interested in underwriting your deal for a solar offer. But I do know a guy. I forget how big the property was. I think it was in the Southwest. But dude, he was only clearing like $4 or $5 grand a month, and it was a huge property. I mean, multi 6 figures or more for the properties. Now, I don't know. I just didn't think it was like that unbelievable. I'd probably just rather flip it, to be honest. So I don't know. I was kind of, I forget the exact specifics on it, but I was shocked that it just didn't seem like it was that much. But you've got no cost, so I mean, you've got no tenants, like a triple net essentially on land. But yeah, kind of a weird deal. When someone looks at this, they're like, "Oh, you should entitle it," but I don't really know.
I don't think it's possible. I don't know how much activity is going on there based on the size of those properties and the amount of vacant small parcels. I don't think there is an entitlement there, because look at the vacant land to the left over there. Looks like half of that's built on.
Yeah.
So it looks like
that's a weird one.
Or you could chop it in half.
Yeah. So let me look at it. I'm gonna look at another screenshot real quick. So it is actually, I don't want to show because well, actually I can zoom in real quick. Hold on. So look at these are they're definitely, the houses are going. It's in a really good county. I don't know this like exact submarket, but the house is like around this little development here, and then one slightly north of it. They're all built on for the most part, but they're not. They do range in size. There's definitely activity. These two aren't here, but yeah, I don't know. I'd probably just flip out of this and let someone else deal with it.
Or just
what are the house values around there?
I don't know. I could pull it up if I had to guesstimate 300, 350.
Bad.
Yeah, not like super high end, but not like cheap. But what I've learned looking at more of these like entitlement development properties is you got to be so selective, like so choosy. It's so few of them make sense. So few. And you can get duped because it's like, oh, big property, it's got access, it's got utilities, it's next to development. But boy, oh boy, do you have to be selective. They made that mistake before. So if this was in your business, you guys would flip it, or you said split it?
Is there a price per acre differential there?
I haven't gone super deep on it. I think we're picking up at a decent price, though. It's probably as is worth 220, 240, 250.
Nice.
Buy at 152. Split, I don't know, probably doesn't add a ton of value. Honestly, when the use case for this, probably someone doesn't want it split unless they're going to just, I don't know what the hell they would use it for. It's like smaller, throw hay on, something like that. But how are things going in your guys' business? You guys doing any interesting deals?
Is this an HOA or is it just individual parcels?
The adjacent area, I think, is an HOA.
Yeah, it might be worth just talking to the board and seeing if they want to do some sort of development there, right? Community pool or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be a fat pool, man.
Or, you know, just like a recreational park pool, like whatever, you know. I mean, it's a long shot, but it can't hurt a quick call, you know.
No, you're true. It's true. I've told this story before, but there was a deal that we were contracting in Texas that we ended up not moving forward with. Buy it at 800. The adjacent HOA made an offer of $5 million for it.
Wow! Holy cow!
Crazy. Well, how many acres do you need for a golf course?
That would be like a little mini golf course, not mini, but like a executive maybe. But yeah, you need more than that for sure.
Okay. But what about you guys? Any interesting deals around? Check this out too. I don't mean to flex on you.
Oh, you got the moist stuff.
That tiger snus. That snus.
Freshies.
Fresh. One of the funny things inside, if you guys were inside of our Land Insights chat, inside Slack, anytime something relevant happens, someone joins Land Insights, what have you, we always drop that Zen emoji. That's their go-to. That's the company's gone. Zen. I'm trying to get all the boys addicted. Ryland's already. That guy's beyond me in terms of his depth and breadth with zinning.
I haven't tried it yet.
Next time I see you, Pete, we'll put in a little upper decky for you.
I'm in California. They may not allow the flavored ones here. I don't know.
They don't.
Yeah,
I was half kidding. Is that real?
Yeah.
I gotta move out of California.
So they made those changes a few years ago. I had a bunch of buddies that were like vapors, and they made it first for the vapes, and then they did it for Zen. But there's like these black market liquor stores in San Diego that still had the goods, and so like all like the kids and stuff would go there to get like the watermelon vapes or the flavored Zen. So they're still out there.
Did they open their coat and show you their?
Yeah, check this out. But it's funny, man. People were outraged. And I understand from a freedom standpoint, it's kind of dumb, but like hardcore freaking vapors were pissed, man. Pissed. It was a big deal. But anyways, what you guys got going on with deals?
A lot going on in terms of like flips right now. We just sold a property that we bought 14 months ago, so that's good. Collected back some equity. Sold a 20 acre in South Carolina, bought it for 90, sold it for 200. That closes next week. Sold a last piece of one of our Texas subdivides. That closes next week. And then we're working on a big subdivide in South Carolina where we're building a road, and that's going to cost 50 grand to build that road. But the numbers are looking like kind of, I think it's 1.2 million acquisition, dispose like 2.6.
Sweet.
If you build that road. So
yeah, you can pay off half your house mortgage with that.
Yeah. Interesting. And are you contracting it through like a option or a double close, or closing on it?
We're trying to get them to accept a seller finance offer.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
How
I
much
mean,
the
they
road
agreed
cost?
to a cash price, but I'd rather do seller finance and not have to outsource any money.
Yeah.
What does a road cost on that property?
45,000.
Okay.
Yeah, not
really valuable for it, huh?
because it's the road frontage is not significant. So by building, it's one of those properties that kind of opens up in the back. So to max, like there's a bunch of demand for like 5 and 10 acres. So if we can get 5 and 10 acres towards the back, it's going to make a lot of sense.
Killer.
Nice. Good luck on that.
I don't prefer building, but in this situation, it makes a lot of sense.
I tell you what, though, I mean, it still sounds like a deal, especially if you know the market well. But I think I'd have cold feet with that spread for having to put a road in.
I mean, it's more than double your money.
Just buy for 2, sell for 2.6. They said.
I said 1.2.
Oh, they said buy for 2, sell for 2.6.
No,
very different. Oh wow, that's an insane deal.
That's a great deal, yeah.
Especially if you own or finance it, that's bonkers.
Yeah.
That's
so we were working with the surveyor before. Like this guy's he's worked with us before. He's surveyed subdivisions for us before. So he's like, yeah, I'll draw this up for you. Makes way more sense to do this. And I'll be able to get it passed. So I don't like do my own county research anymore. I just rely on the surveyors to tell me what you can and can't do. So build those relationships, and then it just grows from there.
Nice.
And they'll tell you things that would be hard to weed out just going through a giant PDF or even talking to someone in the county. There's all these weird little loopholes that I found in Texas, things I don't think I would come across easily on my own. A good surveyor, a good realtor, and a good title company is worth its weight in gold in this business. Seriously. Like developing those relationships pays dividends. That would be a cool database to have inside of Land Insights as well eventually.
Yeah. Another thing we did this week, we collected our first month of rent on the mobile home park. So it's all legit. The guy had no legit rent roll. So I was just banking on him telling the truth. So we got all of our payments. Told one of the guys.
Less than what he said.
What?
Was it more or less than what he said, or same exact than what he quoted you?
Exactly what he said.
Wow.
Oh, good man.
Yeah. Already got a property manager in place. This is his second mobile home park he's already done. He already got our leases signed, and he told one of the guys to clean up all the shit that was on his property. And now we're marketing lots. So hopefully we can get that thing filled up in the next 12 months.
Dude, congrats, man. That's a great deal.
It's like it was like a clean up your act project. So you can't really sell it as is right now because there's no existing rent roll. So like you pitch it to an investor, they're gonna be like, where's the rent roll? So I can hold on to this 12 months, get it filled up and sell it probably 3 times what I bought it for. So I'm either considering that or just holding on to it because with it filled, it's going to be 60 grand of income a year.
Yeah, man, get it up to speed and maybe refinance some, pull some cash out.
Yeah. I would hold that puppy and refinance it. Is it in like a growing area? Good market?
It's right outside Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
hold that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna hold on to it because it's 60 grand of income a year once it's filled.
Yeah.
It's a nice
That's
asset
great.
that you can have on your, your asset sheet for other loans and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I bought this thing for $250 cash, so
That's ridiculous.
I might put a loan against it. I might not. It just depends.
That's a sick deal, dude. 60 grand a year, 250 in. Whew.
Yeah, I've been looking at a lot of these now because I know what I'm doing. I spent a whole week trying to figure out this whole mobile home park thing now. So when they come across my desk, it's like I know exactly how to underwrite these. So
I like how Rylan is like a whole week to learn mobile home strategies.
Yeah,
that's like dog years. It would take a normal person like a year,
Believe it or not, I learned most of it in ChatGPT. It's
That's
crazy
awesome.
how good it is.
Yeah,
It can underwrite a whole mobile home park in with just a couple sentences. Like you tell it what the income is, and it calculates the management fees and then what cap rates are in the area. I mean, it underwrote a New York deal I was looking at immediately, and it was correct, like based on all of my experience underwriting these things.
Wow,
that's dope, dude. Yeah,
And
I
then
love mobile parks. I love the
Kyle's
idea.
adding a structure count filter inside Land Insights, so we can pickpocket all the mobile home parks out of our export. Yeah,
that's so killer. That's like one of those features that like people wouldn't really think about. That's interesting, but there's a lot you can do with that. That's a gangster little search right there. Another reason as to why you need to be on the Land Insights data platform. It's true.
The inter-family transfer thing is pretty cool too.
Yeah. When's that coming out, Rylan? Do you know?
Monday.
It's already out. Oh, wait,
Monday.
it's Monday. Okay.
It's Monday. It's shipping Monday. All those updates.
Or no. Actually, I think he already dropped it to production.
No,
right? I think it's today.
He dropped it. We looked at that today.
Yeah, that's right.
it's sure there.
Same with corporate owners, so we can get rid of all the corporations that own land at export.
So let me share this with the attendees for folks that are watching. You might be wondering, what are we talking about here? We're losing people too. We're going deep, but some of them will value this. So we just released a new search feature, which you can look for inter-family transfers, which if you went back and looked at some of your best deals, there's a good chance of like a strong percentage of them were inter-family. And that makes sense. They don't have much of a connection to the property in a lot of cases. They typically have no basis in it or very little. Those can make great deals. And it's the first time you've ever been able to actually go search and just filter those out individually. That's fire. I thought that was shipping on Monday. I can push it out today. That's really cool. And that's just a free search that anyone can use. And really, like I've been banging this drum. I'll keep on banging it. The value of Land Insights from the market selection to what we do on the data platform is visibility. Can you get visibility and control and manipulate data in ways that other people can't? And if you can, that's going to make you a crap ton of money, which is that simple. Land Mammoth, I'm going to answer this question. Pete, I want to get to you. That's a great question, man. Do y'all use numerology in your pricing when selling? Like Walmart pricing, everything is an 888, or 88. Yes, in a sense. So I've experimented with two things that we pretty much do. And it's never really a time that we don't use them. One, we always use odd numbers that feel true to value. So I don't just use like, $1,500. It's like $1,597 and 42 cents. And then I don't know the psychology or numerology behind 88, but I use sevens a lot. Sevens have this feeling of being fair. And it's an interesting thought experiment. If you guys talk to a friend or talk to a team member, say on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing in your life? How are you performing at your role? What's your mood today? What do most people say?
7.
7's a fair number. It just feels fair. And so 7 in our pricing, we just find that to be really powerful. So we use that on the acquisition side and dispo. I don't go crazy with it, but we'll end in 7 and we'll throw some 7s in there. It's probably a subtle difference, but I swear by it. Yeah. It's a good question, Land Mammoth. Pete, what about you, man? Any cool deals you're working on?
Yeah, we picked up so listening to, Dennis Yasko's sales stuff, listening to you, Sumner, listening to, Ajay, etc. I'm getting better and better at like low anchors. I was a little shy about going too low in the beginning. And so we just picked up a roughly 40K, 5-acre, nice parcel. It's got utilities to the road, all that stuff. and it's adjoining a state. I think it's state land, so you can go back. You can hike right from your property onto state land and go hunting. It's a great hunting area.
Nice.
And we picked it up I was dropping 12,500 as my low anchor cash price because I figured we need to do a double close on this because I had a little bit of wetlands toward the front. And he's like, "Yeah, I guess that'll work." So I almost fell out of my chair. So I was fully expecting to say, "No, that's too low. We need to be higher." And I was going to then do the whole double close, spiel and all that good stuff. And he's like, "That'll work." So we just picked it up for 12 cash and it's on the market. We got nice photos now and all that good stuff. So, we'll see if it sells in the winter. It's up in the northern part of the country. So, but it good sell-through rates year round. So it may sell quickly, but if it doesn't, it's okay. We're not out a ton of cash and should be a decent profit deal.
Dude, that's a really good testament for asking for what you want, both in this business and in life. 2 deals that we picked up there are a testament to that from last month. We picked up a deal. We bought it in the mid $2,000 range, 2,500, 2,200, something like that. Properties are selling in like the 70s. Our realtor told us to list it at 29. It's not as nice as the other ones. And we actually just got word back from a realtor on a deal that we picked up for $3,000. We're paying $600 for a perk test, $600 for a survey. And if it perks, it's worth about 45 to 49. So ask for what you want. Like put out stupid crazy prices, get stupid crazy offers signed.
That's right.
You can't be afraid to freaking.
And then we just got a lead yesterday or day before. We got a lead for we mailed this guy. It's a 40-acre parcel, and 40 something, 46 or I think it was roughly market value about 90ish or 87, 90. And he called us and he's like, "Well, I got 4 others. You want to buy all 5?" And they're all like, not necessarily all adjoining, but more or less. They're kind of separated by a road. One of them, the road bisects. That's the one we mailed them for. So that one we may be able to just get 8 PNs out of it. If we're able to do that, they're about 20 acres each. That'll be probably a 140 value roughly that we gave them a 40 something offer for. So that'll be a nice one. And the other ones some are okay. One of them, he's got septic and utilities already kind of ready to pull in. So we'll see. I'm not sure how this one's going to go yet, but it sounds good. He's already sent us tons of info and he's real responsive. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. This could be a good one.
Dude, one of the easiest deals to do, in my opinion, is the road bisect subdivided. Like super, super easy. If the road intersects it, split, just get a survey, cut it up, done. And those are like cookie cutter subdivides for people to do. I find folks just don't even bother. It's like you spend a few grand and just cut it into 2. But actually, I'm just looking at our board from last month. We got so many buy for really cheap with sorry, I shouldn't use that word, ridiculous spreads. We picked up a 2-acre last month. Again, it's just such a testament for asking for what you want. All right, we bought, so this 2-acre, we're listing it at 20. Our realtor says it'll sell between 17 and 20. What do you guys think we paid for this?
3.
I was going to say around that, yeah. Lower, huh?
Yeah, 1,500.
Wow.
So, dude, ask for what you want. And the reason we got these at such stupid prices, we're not just belligerently offering super low on every deal. But those 3 examples I gave, like the comps were just weird. They were just either a limited number of comps or like not like really like kind comps. And so when we have confusion and question marks on price, we need to kind of warrant the risk. And so we ask for better deals. And sometimes we get them and they pan out with ridiculous percentage returns. All right, guys, should we wrap up here? Let's see if there's any questions in the chat. Coach, do you guys go live on here regularly on Friday? Let's start blocking out my schedule. Yeah, Coach, I'm thinking about doing either bi-weekly or monthly, like a land call-in show like we did here, where people call in and we help answer questions. So potentially, and if we did, it would be on a Friday basis, probably not weekly. But yeah, if you guys like this and you guys give it some thumbs up, I will take note of that. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. I think we got most of them. One question from Vikram. He says he loves this YouTube channel. I was wondering what we'd recommend for easily finding out which counties within certain states only require a survey for minor subdivides. So you got to go look at the regulations. Just Google it. You'll find
Generally red states, right, Sumner?
Yeah. So generally, as a rule of thumb, typically red states, red rural states are going to be your best bet. But go look at the regs, call someone at the land use office if you need clarification. You're looking for the exemption-based subdivides. You're looking for the easiest of the easiest, the path of least resistance. And usually that'll have two layers to it. Either there's a quantity limit, there's a size limit, or there's a quantity and size limit blended together.
With a road frontage minimum usually.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I gotta bounce.
See you,
But, hey,
Ryan.
talking.
Morning.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
See you, Rylan.
Land Mammoth says, have you guys ever thought about trying alternative experimental marketing channels like digital billboards in areas you're looking to buy? Yeah, I've thought about experimental channels. I haven't thought about digital billboards particularly. That just seems like it'd be very expensive with low upside, but you never know until you test. Like marketing is a game of testing. So I would never stray someone away from testing. I probably wouldn't opt for billboards, but yeah, there's all sorts of weird channels. I mean, I'll give you guys a freebie that I've thought about. What if instead of going direct to owner, you went direct to agent and then just start picking up pocket listings and building relationships and they just funnel you any pocket listing or, little oddities like that. But for the most part, you want to be going direct to the seller. I think super broad channels like Facebook ads, like billboards, I just don't think they're very good for land. I don't know.
And you can't target your properties is the problem, which, that it is what it is. It's not a bad thing, but you might get a 0.1 acre, you might get 150 acre and might be all wetlands. It might be they might be living nearby, but their property's in a different state. So it's hard. It's hard to focus, right, and target.
So yeah, the thing with land, which makes it very different than houses, we're very selective with the deals that we buy. And we're very selective with the deals that we market to as a byproduct. So most land is not worth your time to go and market to or to even buy. So because of that, marketing is always going to be expensive. To get another human on the phone or to call you or to text you or email you is always going to be expensive. That's just a fact. Like it's not cheap. Attention is an expensive thing to buy. And so if I'm going to buy someone's attention, I need it to be targeted. Otherwise, I'm just spending money frivolously. Like to get a click on Facebook will cost you a couple bucks typically, to get a phone call could be $100, $200. It's the same thing. I've used PPC before. It's the same thing. It's like I'm paying similar prices as direct mail to get someone on the phone, but most of them have terrible properties. So I'm not a fan of it. I don't like the broad channel.
That's what I found with any kind of neutral strategy in general, like whether it's SMS, RVM, text, it's cold call, whatever, like neutral letters, all the neutral strategies. When I did them, you get all kinds. And generally, you're getting the crappy people calling you first, and it's just a lot of work, right, to sift through. And anyway, that was my experience. It's not bad or wrong. It's just a lot more work on the back end.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can. The beauty about the neutral is still at least you can target. But if you're marrying no targeting and neutral, well, good luck. And you have to account for the fact too, what's the back end resources that you need to handle all the inbound lead flow? So you would need more people too, and that's expensive. So I'd rather have less leads, higher quality leads that are pre-qualified through price or something of the sort that I've actually targeted the property. That's my thesis. But Land Mammoth, even within that, there's still very odd channels or odd ways of marketing that are alternative that you could certainly test. You know what I mean? So experiment. All right, Pete, what are you going to leave the people with? One word, one phrase, one saying, one thought. What do you got for anything you want to part with?
I don't know. Everything that we're building in Land Insights, not to sound like another advertisement, but honestly, I mean, we're all land investors, all building it, and Kyle's, amazing, all that. Being able to hyper focus is crazy, right? Down to the zip code level, down to the acreage band. If I don't like an acreage band in that might be an amazing market, but the 5 to 10s, there's just not demand. Well, then I'm going to mail the 10s to 40s, or if above 40 is not good, like just being able to hyper focus those marketing dollars that are expensive into where you really want to be getting properties, and then scrubbing out the landlocked, scrubbing out the, all that stuff. It's just, marketing's expensive. So if you can put them where they're going to bring back a lot of friends, it's been game changing.
Yeah, no, 100%. And what I would say on that too is get in the right room. I mean, Pete, like the progress in your business and even the opportunities with Land Insights just comes from being in the right rooms. And so you've got a cool story to tell there. And I've seen that. Same thing with Ari, same thing with even Rylan. It's like, if you're watching this and you're trying to build a career in this world and build a business, find like-minded people that are doing this and just get in a room with them. Whether it's going to an event or private DMing people or joining a community, get out there, start meeting people that are doing what you want to do. And Pete, if we rewinded the clock when you joined a year ago, like, would you have anticipated it playing out like this?
No way. That's the thing about life, right? You do your part and you kind of envision what you want, but you just have to, at that point, kind of hold on and go for the ride, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's a beautiful thing. So get around like-minded people. Being on this show is a good place to be. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please, I'm panhandling over here. Give it a thumbs up, if you will. It really helps, shows me that this is worth my time. All right. Well, we'll end it here. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. Rest up, recharge for a big week ahead. Appreciate y'all. Take care. Good seeing you, Pete. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Sumner. See ya.